Okay, we're on. Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Today's Tuesday, October 4th, 2022, and we are here for a regular town board meeting and also a special CDA meeting. And as always, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Tim, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And can I, Frank, do we have anyone from?
We have a very special person with us
Devin?
today,
Where's Devin?
the pastor of Salvation Army in Riverhead, the new pastor, our friend Lieutenant Esther Tagara. She's here to give us the invocation. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it very much. A good introduction for you to the rest of the community.
We're gonna make him wear this and sing happy birthday to Frank. Okay, great.
I greet you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Could you please stand with me so that we can pray? Father, we come before your throne this afternoon. We glorify your name because of who you are. We bless your name, God. We thank you, Lord, this afternoon for each and everyone who is here present. We thank you, Lord, for the authority, the administrators, and the committees, Lord, even all those who are present, even those who are on virtual, Lord. We thank you. We glorify your name because you are God. God, you have saved us. You know us. You know us when we sit and when we arise, Lord. You perceive our thoughts from our far, Holy Spirit. We thank you, Lord, for being there because before the word is on my mouth, Lord, you know it completely. Father, we thank you for each and every one, even this meeting, Lord. We glorify your name. We just ask and seek for your presence. We just want you to anoint each and every one, Lord. We thank you for our community. Continue to guide us and anoint us. Continue to lead us, Lord. Whatever is being debated in this meeting, Lord, we just ask you to be by your Lord. Thank you for giving us this opportunity just to share with you, Holy Spirit. Continue to guide us and lead us. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. I have to say, I only had the opportunity of praying with you and your husband once, but it was a miraculous prayer then and equally so now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tim and Frank. And we're going to move forward. Next, Councilman Rothwell and I conferred earlier and have agreed that before we move forward with the proclamation presentation, we are scheduled for today, we're going to pull a resolution. You want to read the number?
So just, we are very honored today to have many family members and Vietnam veterans and other veterans that have gathered here today to honor Garfield Langhorne. So rather than keep you and have you sit through a 3-hour board meeting, which sometimes could be tedious, so sometimes what we do is we take things a little out of order today. So I would like to make a recommendation that we pull the Town Board Resolution 2022-710 out of order, and that we do this resolution first, so that we can honor the family, and we can hear from the family. And so can I make a motion, it's fine, just to kind of go out of order?
I would second that motion.
Okay. And so at this time, Frank, if you want to read Town Board Resolution
Sure
2022?
would, yes.
But then we do have to open it up for
For comment.
public
Right.
comments. So
So
do you want to
before we
read the
read-
resolution first, and then just to say
Sure.
public comment on it?
So, 2022-710 designates the second Friday of October as PFC Garfield M. Langhorne Day within the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, so,
Public comment?
yes, we're going to have, ask anyone online or in the audience, if you have any comments on this resolution, to please come forward before it's read and voted on. Chip, do we have anyone online? No? Okay, we have one gentleman coming here. You state your name, please? Yes, and this is just a comment before we vote.
My name is Clarence Simpson. I'm Vice President of Vietnam Veterans of America,
Yes.
also known as the Green Jackets. We started this with former Congressman Tim Bishop, with the post office, as you all know.
Yes.
Named after Garfield Langhorne. And I was very excited when I started filling out the form to speak with Councilman Ken Rothwell, and he said, "I'll run with it." And I really appreciate you running with it, because this is a day that's been long overdue, not maybe since 1969, but maybe 1970 or 71, because as you know, Garfield Langhorne is Suffolk County's only recipient posthumously of the Medal of Honor from the Vietnam War. And I'm glad to have the support of Mary Ann Haroon, the family, Mrs. Langhorne, God rest her soul, she was my best bud, and Garfield Reed and Tanya. I'd like to have them say a few words also
Sure.
and represent the family.
Can you state your name, sir? Can you state your name?
Yes. My name is Joseph Garfield Reed. I am the nephew of Garfield Langhorne. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Clarence, the vets, as well as the board for recognition of this day in the name of my uncle's honor. Councilman Rodwell, really appreciate you running with this. The family's very excited, and those that could not make it extends their well wishes and thank you as well. You know, there's not really a lot of words that I can really say other than people ask me what my name is often or why I go by Garfield, and it always gives me an opportunity to tell his story. It's never about me. To this day, I do support the DOD, Army, Navy, in that capacity as well. And it's just a really honor. I also want to say thank you, and if any family or friends are here today to support, if you could please stand or wave your hand, whatever's easiest for you. As many of you all know, my grandmother was very involved. She was very happy about all the work and the continuance of remembrance of not only my uncle, but those that are here as well. So you all too deserve this honor as well, and we extend that to you. We have the greatest gratitude, and thank you for this.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi,
Good
my name
afternoon.
is, good afternoon. I'm Tanya Marshall, and this is my first cousin, and I'm Garfield's niece. And I believe Garfield said it all. But again, we want to thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Chip, do we have anyone online? Oh, we have another person. Yes.
My name is Patrick Burke. I'm the building principal of Pulaski Street School. So I would like to say on behalf of our district, and I'm very appreciative Superintendent Dr. Tonatori is with us, Mr. Hewitt, also the gentleman that oversees the program. Garfield Langhorne is very important to our community and to our building. For 18 years, Riverhead Central School District, more specifically Pulaski Street School, has provided an essay contest, and the qualities, we will forever keep Garfield Langhorne's legacy alive, his spirit alive. We are extremely grateful. We have our ceremony coming up, I believe it's the 14th, to celebrate the essay, and there's another essay contest year after year. This is year 18. All of our students will participate in writing on what are the qualities of Garfield Langhorne. He's a true hero, not only for Long Island, he's a true hero for our building, and we are so grateful. So I just want to say thank you for doing this for us, for the community, for the district, and most importantly for the family. And I think we're all kind of family after all this. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Anyone else from the audience? Chip? Oh,
yes.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Monroe Hale, first cousin to Garfield, and brother as we knew him. And I just want to, it's just, at this time, how things are going in this country, it's good to be here doesn't matter your race, creed, religion, political party, or whatever, to honor a person, my cousin, who was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of this country. And to see what's happening in the country today, where people are torn, fascism is coming to our environment. We're talking about things like that, as opposed to working together. We say we honor, every politician says, we honor our military, and thank God for our military. And they're not the ones that fight the wars, they're not the ones that make the sacrifices, and they are part of tearing this country down, the whole fiber of this country. The people who wear this uniform are the ones
Devin, we have a tissue?
okay. They're the ones that give us the freedoms and the liberties that we have. And I would just hope that whatever your political persuasion is, that when you consider pulling the lever, consider all the people who have sacrificed their lives to keep this union together, and don't let anybody tear it apart. Thank you for your time.
Anyone from the audience want to come forward? Anyone online, Jeff? Okay, hearing no one. Councilman, we're going to present the proclamations. I'm going
Let's officially vote on it.
Oh, you want to say a few words?
If I could just, before we do a vote, I just wanted to share a few thoughts. First and foremost, I thank you to Clarence Simpson, and I thank all the Vietnam Veterans of America, and especially Chapter Number 11, and you guys that are joining us here today. It's amazing that after 53 years, it's never too late to say thank you. It's never too late to pause for a moment. And I cannot think of any more poignant moment in time when Garfield Langhorne shouted out, "Somebody's got to care," and made the ultimate sacrifice for his comrades together there, and gave his life so that others may live. And I think we take a moment, and if you pause and you say, from that moment, because others survived, that there's other generations around him, there's others, his fellow veterans got to come home, those that survived, that came home and they had families and children and grandchildren, and the legacy, that's all part of Garfield, all those people that he saved. I guarantee every one of them every day think of him and thank him for his sacrifice. About 30 years ago, I became a licensed funeral director, and I drove into Calverton National Cemetery, and that's the first time I saw Garfield Langhorne Boulevard, and I said, wow, who is this person? I need to learn about him more. And so I searched, and to find out that he was the Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. He is buried in Riverhead Cemetery, and I visit his headstone many times and go to his gravesite, and I personally give thanks. I did that as soon as even this morning, as before we gathered here today. It's just monumental, and it's never too late to say thank you. To every one of our veterans who served here and abroad, I thank you all for your service. We've had an opportunity over the last year and a half to do some great deeds. We have the Wall of Honor now at our high school that's named in Garfield Langhorne's name, and so for his family members that have traveled far and wide to come here today, I encourage you to see that. I am so gratefully I've been bestowed on loan from his family Garfield's portrait that is over here to the right. And that travels with us. We go to the high school and we do the Wall of Honor. We always display it. It's gone to Boy Scout meetings and they talk about it and we teach them, and it hangs here in Town Hall. And we're gratefully to have that, and we know that it's on loan, but we promise we take good care of it because we love sharing his story. And so I thank you also very much for coming here today. Clarence wants to say something. Thank you.
This is the artist,
The art. Wow.
Jerry Slater.
Thank you so much. last year, with the help of our Veterans Advisory Committee, we hung up our Hometown Hero Banner project on Main Street, and we hung up his photo, and now we've also obtained another photo of Garfield, an actual photo, as opposed to the beautiful artist rendering that we have. And so we'd like to display that as well, and we'll hold that up for a minute for those at home to see on TV. But I encourage the family, to take a look at that as well, and we'll hang that up on Main Street. And I think this is just a continuation from his statue. I remind everybody, perhaps before you go home today, take a moment to pause at his statue outside of Town Hall. And that's what we need to do, and we need to teach our next generations. My children know the story of Garfield Langhorne. They know that he made that sacrifice so that others may live. And I'll make sure that my grandchildren, who are not yet around, but I want to make sure they know. And that's what we do here, and that's how we continue to honor his legacy many, many years to come. And I know many of his family members travel from great distances, so thank you so much for coming up here, and it's wonderful that you're here today to be with us. So I thank you all so very much.
Okay, and Diane, can you please call the resolution for a vote, please?
Certainly. Resolution 710.
We need. You wanna read-
Designates the second Friday of October as PFC Garfield M. Langhorne Day within the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes, indeed.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
I'm honored, yes.
The resolution is adopted.
So probably tomorrow, we can get you, the family, a copy of the adopted resolution?
Yes.
Okay, well, Diane, if you can
Certainly.
provide it,
Yes, absolutely.
so the family can have it. And next, I'm going to invite members of the Garfield M. Langhorne's family who are with us today, along with members of his Congressional Medal of Honor Committee, to please come forward for a proclamation presentation. And I'm actually going to, because of all the work that our councilman did in this effort, I'm going to pass this proclamation over to him for it to be read and presented.
Thank you very much, Madam Supervisor. We can go down to have Would this family like to come forward? So those that may not know, the second Friday is when they have the annual essay contest in school every year, and it's when they determine the winners, right, of the essay contest. And so that is the reason why we selected that particular day. So every day, the essay is actually about what Garfield Langhorne means to me, right? Yes. And so it's wonderful, and the timing is very poetic, so that on that second Friday every year, when you talk about him, you'll be able to do it on his day.
And we just want to make note that our town historian is here watching this event, and it'll go down into history. And why is she out there? I know she's watching TV from the outside, but can somebody call her in? Georgette Case, our town historian. Hi, Georgette. Thought of you wanted to join us? You can come on this side also.
Come on this side, too.
Some of you on this side. Is the picture?
Maybe you want to hold that up?
That's the new banner that we managed to locate in his military photographs. Take a moment to read some of the proclamation. Designates the second Friday of October as Garfield M. Langhorne Day within the town of Riverhead. Whereas Garfield McConnell Langhorne was born on September 10, 1948 in Cumberland, Virginia, the son of Garfield Langhorne and Mary Jane Powell. He was the brother of Yvonne Langhorne Reed, Anna Langhorne Mack, and April Langhorne Armstead. Garfield was a graduate of Riverhead High School in the class of 1967 and worked for the Suffolk County before he was drafted in the U.S. Army. Langhorne's enlistment with the U.S. Army started May 6, 1968, where he served as a radio operator with Troop C, 7th Squadron, Air Mobile, 17th Cavalry Regiment, 1st Aviation Brigade, in the rank of Private First Class. He began his tour in South Vietnam on October 26, 1968. Private First Class Langhorne distinguished himself on the afternoon of January 15, 1969, when his unit was attempting to rescue a two-man crew from a downed U.S. Army Cobra helicopter just west in Plaquao, Providence, South Vietnam. When Private First Class Langhorne's platoon determined the pilot and gunner did not survive, their duty was to recover the wounded and the deceased. When enemy soldiers began to probe the perimeter, the wounded were moved to the center of the ranks. Private First Class Langhorne and others were lying next to the wounded, returning fire, when suddenly a hand grenade landed in front of him. Private First Class Charles Campbell reported Private First Class Langhorne stating, "Someone's got to care," before immediately throwing himself on the grenade and smothering the explosion with his body, saving the lives of his comrades. Those were the last words. He was only 20 years old. Private Langhorne was posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest military decoration. He was awarded the Purple Heart in 1998 and was inducted into the Army Aviation Hall of Fame. He has been honored locally through the work of Private First Class Garfield M. Langhorne Memorial Association, together with having many honors in his name. So, on behalf of the town supervisor, Yvette Aguiar, and the entire town board, and all the residents of the town of Riverhead, in recognition of Private First Class Garfield Langhorne's sacrifice, selflessness, and act of exceptional bravery, we hereby designate the second Friday of each October hereafter as Garfield M. Langhorne Day within the town of Riverhead in remembrance of him. Thank you. I will say, sometimes when we read proclamations, we simplify them, because sometimes along, but there's not anything in there that we could have left out today.
Yes, I know.
It's his story, so
It
thank you
was,
for allowing us to read.
put it together, it was some artful thinking, but it was great. I think the final product
Thank you.
was great, and thank you for his service, and, you know, the family's always victims when this happens, and people forget them. So you're not forgotten in Riverhead,
Thank you.
that's for sure.
God bless you all. Thank you so much. You can't be that shy. Parents, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out. And thank you to the school board as well. Thank you. You're welcome.
Oh, what's after school? No, but I haven't been invited. I am. Okay, Devin, can you give him email so he can contact for an event? Okay, great, thank you. Take care. Okay, thank you for everything you do for our kids.
The supervisor and to the essay contest.
I'm very partial to the military. I actually teach them online all over the world. I have, I'm a professor with the American military. So, everything is military art. Okay. Sure, absolutely. Hi. Would you like to?
You should go right by the photo.
Okay, why don't we go? Okay, that's a good idea. What is this, a golfing creature?
I knew all of my friends here would be in green. I wanted to share some camaraderie.
Early this morning, and all the rain.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, worked out very good. It's good,
Thank you, sir. Very well done.
Yes.
Very well done.
yes, yep, absolutely.
Nice job.
Yeah,
The right person was on it.
all right. And thank you, Ken, and thank you, everyone. There is no one that I am aware who is more deserving of this honor and distinction than PFC Garfield Langhorne, and again, thank you all. And now we're gonna move on to our normal meeting agenda. We're gonna move on to announcements. First, this Sunday, October 9th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. is the Riverhead County Fair taking place in downtown Riverhead along our Main Street and our riverfront. There will be food and drinks and games and carnival rides, contests, vendors of all types, live entertainment and music throughout the day. All are invited to participate and spend the day along our Main Street and along our riverfront. It's always has been a great event with a huge amount of attendance, actually one of the biggest fairs in the county, and I heard in the state. Next, I hear like a radio somewhere. Do we?
It's just the doors open.
That might
Oh,
be the
just with the
TV
doors,
on
did you
St.
hear that?
Paul.
Okay. Next, I was made aware that tomorrow, October 5th, is Councilman Bayrod's 21st birthday. So in full spirit of the birthday, and on behalf of the entire town board, I would like the councilman to wear this wonderful party hat, and we're gonna sing happy birthday to him.
Okay, okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Frank. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I will take this off.
Frank, I'm so sorry I couldn't size your hat. I didn't have time.
I knew we would be born during Oktoberfest, though, there's no question about it, that was a given.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, everyone, and this concludes our announcements. Next, can I have a first and a second to approve the minutes for the regular town board meeting of September 7th, 2022, and the special town board meeting of September 3rd, 2022?
13.
13th, excuse me.
Second.
And Diane, please take the vote.
Certainly. Kern?
Yes.
Rothwell?
Yes.
Bayrod?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Aguirre?
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
And Diane, do we have any correspondence or reports?
We do, but first I will make note that the 2023 tentative budget has been delivered to the town board.
Thank you.
And under correspondence, I had 4 letters opposing cargo planes at the EPCAL property. A letter from EPCAL Water Coalition, and that was regarding joint application of CDA and CAT. The Greater Jamesport Civic Association sent 2 letters, one in support of the use of the current comprehensive plan, and the other was a letter of thanks for the resolution to restore the George Young Community Center cupola. James Farley sent a letter, and that was regarding the joint application of CAT and CDA. Judy Jens sent a letter with regard to land use moratorium. Ron Ondrovic sent a letter regarding the parking permit proposal. And there were 62 letters in opposition to the North Point Developers Logistics Center. Under reports, each of our fire districts submitted their 2023 proposed budgets, so that was Jamesport, Manaville, Riverhead, and Wading River. And also the IDA and Riverhead IDA Economic Job Development Corporation sent in their 2023 proposed budget.
Great. Concerning the Farley letter, I spoke to him prior to the meeting. Can you get a copy to our office, a second copy?
certainly.
Yeah, I'd like to see what it's about. I'm not sure, but there was some concern on that, regarding that letter. So, thank you, and Diane, and we're gonna move on. I believe we have quite a few public hearings today, so there is no time limit on speakers. However, if somebody's going on for a lengthy period of time, we have to let others speak, and then we'll bring them back. So there is no time restraint. So our first public hearing was scheduled for 2:05, and the time is 2:37. And we're going to open up a public hearing for the consideration of a proposed site plan application seeking approval to construct a 4-story mixed-use building at a property located at 12 McDermott Avenue, Riverhead, also known as the Zenith Building. We have planner George Berman here with us, and Greg, can you enlighten us? Greg, can you enlighten us with the topic, please? Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Again, Greg Bergman with the Riverhead Planning Department. So this is a public hearing on a site plan application to construct a mixed-use 4-story building. The ground floor of the building will contain approximately 2,200 square feet of commercial space, and the upper floors, 2 through 4, will contain a total of 9 apartments. There will be 6 one-bedroom units and 3 two-bedroom units. There will be a management office on the second floor, as well as laundry rooms, fitness rooms, and common areas, as well as a rooftop deck. The site, as stated, is located at 12 McDermott Avenue, which is located on the east side of McDermott Avenue, approximately 80 feet south of Main Street. The property has approximately 80 feet of frontage on McDermott Avenue. The town board did assume lead agency. We did a secret review on it, issued a negative declaration, and went here for a public hearing to receive public input and comments on the site plan. If the board has any questions, the project architect, Martin Senlewski, is here,
Okay.
and I'll bring him up if the board or the public has any questions.
Okay, no problem. Anyone from the audience want to come up regarding this project? Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Supervisor, members of the Town Board. Martin Senlewski, architect for the applicant, who's also here. The only thing I wanted to add, just as a note, is that this particular project, if you look at all of the current studies for downtown, including the recently adopted parking study and plan, this building is already accounted for because it was originally approved back in 2008, and it actually went through the whole permit process and building permits, et cetera. And then when the economy changed, we extended the site plan 2 times, but then we ran out of extensions. So essentially, we put it in as a renewal, but since with the lapse of time, it was considered a new application. We did make some improvements and modifications based on our review at the Historic Commission and ARB. But again, as far as historically, in terms of new development, this is already accounted for in all of the previous studies for downtown as being accounted for in all of the numbers and studies. So, other than that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, great. Anyone want to come forward? Chip, do we have anyone? We don't. Okay. So, does the board want to comment on this?
I think it looks great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing section of this hearing, and it's going to remain open for written comments at the clerk's office until 4:30 p.m. on October 14th, 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward, our next public hearing was scheduled for 2:10, and the time is now 2:41, and we are now going to open a public hearing regarding the consideration of the purchase of open space located on the south side of Old Country Road, Riverhead, also known as Sawmill Creek, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-109-1-7. I'll ask our town attorney, Eric Howard, to please review this matter with us.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. All right, so this is a public hearing held pursuant to Chapter 221-9 of the Town Code. which deals with acquisition of open space. The acquisition itself is pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 247. This parcel was identified by the Suffolk County Environment, Parks, and Agriculture Committee in March of 2022 as a target property for preservation. Now, this proposal is, the land itself is approximately 37 acres. It is south of Old Country Road and east of Northville Turnpike. The structure of the acquisition will be a partnership with Suffolk County. They will be funding 90% of the acquisition. We will be funding 10%, no more than $500,000. And we have confirmed with our financial administrator that our open space preservation fund has adequate funds to make this acquisition.
I'd just like to make a couple of comments. The Open Space Committee, which I'm the liaison to, vehemently approved or considered this application. The real stickler for us was not to have a maintenance clause included, and Amory did a great job to make sure that there was no maintenance for the town of Riverhead going forward on the property, and I think it's a great acquisition. And
Right, so the intent is that it's going to be kept in its natural
Yes.
state, and it's just going to be publicly held land.
Okay. Any members of the public want to come forward? Chip, do we have anyone? We don't have anyone. Any other board members want to comment on this matter? All right, hearing no one, we are now going to close the public portion section of this hearing, and we're going to leave it open with, for written comments until 4:30 PM on October 14th, 2022, at the town clerk's office. Moving forward, our third public hearing was scheduled for 2:20, and the time now is 2:44, and we are opening a public hearing regarding the consideration of proposed local law to amend Chapter 207 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Animals. Eric, here you're up again.
Yes, thank you, Madam Supervisor. This is a proposed code amendment to Chapter 207 of the Town Code, Section 16, subsection E, which deals with penalties relative to the confinement of companion animals in vehicles. It's designed to address keeping a companion animal, with a dog, cat, whatever, in your car in extremely low temperatures or extremely high temperatures. There was a suggestion by and through our Justice Court that the fines were perhaps inadequate, so this is a revision of that. Previously, there was a fine of no more than $100 for any offense under 207-16A. This changes that to a first offense of $500 to $1,000. For a second offense, it would be $750 to $1,500. And for a third and subsequent offense, it would be $1,500 to $2,500.
Okay, at this time, do any members of the public want to come forward and speak on behalf of this matter? Anyone? Chip, do we have, we don't have anyone. Okay. Do any board members have anything to add to this public hearing?
No, I think it's a good change.
It needed to be done. I don't even know why you should get to the third offense. You know, you get to the third offense, I mean, yeah, it's, okay, so now we're gonna close the public portion section of this hearing, and we're gonna, it will remain open for written comments until 4:30 PM on October 14th, 2022, at the town clerk's office. Moving forward, our fourth public hearing was scheduled for 2:25 PM, and the time now is 2:46 PM. And we are going to open up a public hearing for the consideration of a proposed local law to amend Chapter 289-17 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Parking Time Limited. And Eric, you have it again. Take it away.
Thank you. All right, this proposed code amendment is phase one of our plan to implement the January 2020 strategic parking plan. It was prepared by prepared on behalf of the town and adopted by Town Board Resolution 2021-277. This particular amendment focuses on Main Street. It removes any 30-minute parking limit spaces. It reduces the parking along Main Street between Osborne Avenue and Ostrander Avenue from 2 hours to 1 hour, and it adds 15-minute spaces in front of businesses along Main Street, including Kachina 25, the commercial spaces in front of the Gallo Building, Goldberg's, and the Ralph's and Antigua Cafe Building. Again, this is phase one, and it just focuses on Main Street, so none of the back lots are under consideration at this point.
Just want to add, this was worked on by the Parking District Committee also.
Yes.
And we had their full blessings. These were the timeframes that they decided they wanted to try. And the Parking District members are made up of business owners from downtown and in downtown Riverhead. So they are comfortable with what these times have been set at.
Anyone have any comments? Chip, anyone online? Okay, so now we're going to close this public portion section of this hearing, and it'll remain open for written comments until 4:30 p.m. on October 14th, 2022, at the town clerk's office.
You're catching up with the clock, Supervisor.
I know. Yeah. And we're going to move forward to our next public hearing of the afternoon, which was scheduled for 2:30. It is now 2:48, and we will now open a public hearing for the local housing and community development needs to be met with CDBG funds. And Dawn, our CDA director, is here to review the topic. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Supervisor and board members. So this is our annual CDBG public hearing. As you know, CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant. That's money that comes from New York State Housing and Urban Development, and we are part of a consortium that administers the money through the County of Suffolk. Every year we have a public hearing. This funding is used in part for public service groups, so to fund public service groups that provide services to our town residents, and also for park and pedestrian improvements, which we use, and we get about $225,000 annually, a portion of which is dedicated to the public service group. So today is the opportunity for each public service group to come to you and let you know why they would like to be funded and seek your approval. And so I'll let them go right ahead and do that.
Okay, any members from the public want to go forward? Come forward. Good afternoon.
Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Susan Baruch. I'm the staff attorney at The Retreat. We're a nonprofit service organization that provides assistance to domestic violence victims, victims of sexual assault, and human trafficking victims. Our services are throughout the East End of Long Island, but we do have an office here in Riverhead. Some of the services we provide include a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week crisis intervention hotline that helps people in immediate danger due to domestic violence. We also have free counseling services for those who are in domestic violence situations. We have legal advocates that not only petition the court for orders of protection on behalf of domestic violence victims, but also go to court with them for other issues in family court, such as custody and child support. And we have a staff attorney and outside attorneys which provide free legal representation to our clients. We also, most importantly, have a shelter. We house people from any part of Long Island who are domestic violence victims and must flee for their own safety and their children's safety. At the shelter, we provide food, clothing, and also other services such as training and assistance with case management. We have a case manager at our Riverhead office that helps our clients apply for and receive certain community and state benefits that they're entitled to. In addition, we have a very comprehensive educational piece. We provide programs that are age-appropriate for grades 3 through 12, which teach children about bullying and unhealthy relationships. We have a program that operates in colleges, specifically Farmingdale State University, which teaches, again, college-age students about the dangers involved with abusive relationships and also the threats of sexual violence. We also have a program in the community called Long Island Safer Bars, which in conjunction with actual owners of businesses, such as bars and restaurants, we work together to try and educate those business owners and the workers there to recognize any potential for sexual assault or violence against their customers. With regard to Riverhead in particular, just to give you some statistical information, over the past year, we've provided 1,400 services to at least 82 persons from Riverhead Town. About 180 calls through our 24/7 crisis line came directly from Riverhead Township, and that's not including our many callers who ask to remain anonymous. We also have received 488 domestic incident reports from the town, and we follow up if necessary on all these domestic incident reports. The police department has been very helpful in forwarding those reports so that we know that if there's an issue, we can reach out to those persons. Specifically, again, with regard to Riverhead, we've discussed our services with Riverhead Head Start, because again, through appropriate measures like getting along story time, we have started to teach children about respect for themselves and for other people. We also presented a program to the parents of those children, again, to make the community aware of domestic violence and the prevalence of it in today's society. We are very proud to have a teen leadership council program, and this year that became interwoven with a group at Riverhead High School, one student of which really assisted us in getting the word out there to other high school students and teens. So we ask you for this grant, and we thank you for your support in the past. I have some folders to hand up to council members for your further edification, and we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else want to come forward?
Yes, hello, my name is Vivian Hobson, and I'm here on behalf of the Butterfly Effect Project, and I would just like to share my story with the butterflies. I started out as a girl who needed a ride home, and I was just sticking around at the church, with the girls. Then I ended up being a volunteer, and now I'm an ambassador with a chapter of my own. One of the things we do, we challenge each girl to do things that they're not used to doing, and not only do we challenge the girls, I'm being challenged myself. One of the things I was being challenged about was going sailing. I'm not going sailing. Black girl on a boat, it won't working for me, okay? But it just so happened it was a beautiful day, and I was like, I should have done this a long time ago. I could have went to sleep on that boat. It was beautiful. Another thing I wasn't going to be challenged was going camping. Guess what? I went camping. Even though the bathroom was in Patchogue and we were at Wildwood State Park, I won't tell you that story. But I enjoyed that also. We went sailing. I'm not getting on a sailboat. They call it capsizing. I call it falling over. I won't do that again. But just to show you some of the things that we do with the girls, like I say, we challenge the girls. Also, I'm being challenged. But we're there for the girls in case if they need someone to talk to, we're always there for them. And I just wanted to share my story with the Butterfly Effect Project. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vivian.
Hello, my name is Shanissa Thames. I'm Butterfly's Community Liaison and Digital Aid. Some of you may know me as Happy Feet. Some of you may know me as the young lady that was double dutching on Main Street. And some of you may know me as Miss Shanissa, who I stand here as today, Happy Feet, who's come back from college as Miss Shanissa. In the last 8 years, being involved in the program, I've had the opportunity to watch so many girls grow and have seen them all their lives been impacted in different ways, especially my own. As our mission statement is to create safe spaces for girls to dream and succeed, I was once one of those girls who was able to dream, succeed, and live through my dreams. My eighth grade teacher assigned us my eighth grade teacher assigned us a book report to receive a book out of the library. I didn't want a history book, I didn't want a science book, I didn't want sports. My English teacher, who was infatuated with my wardrobe and shoe collection, helped me pull a fashion book, which ironically I was named Happy Feet in the program because of my out of the ordinary shoe choices at meetings. After that, fashion became my focus. For so many years, things continued to fall into place. Los Angeles was my dream place to live, and it just so happens
Jeff?
that my dream school
Close the door.
became,
We got it.
my dream school was in Los Angeles. With all the encouragement from not only Miss Tia, but my whole Butterfly family and the community at large, I was able to live that dream out. I went to my dream school after applying to just one college. I lived in my dream city that I had the opportunity to explore during a global pandemic, traveled beyond measures, and walked across the stage this past June. Upon completion of my 18-month course, I moved back to New York, lived out my dream, and lived out a dream I could have never once imagined too. I came back to BEP full-time, took over not one, but 7 chapters, with 5 of them being in the Riverhead School District. Taking one day at a time, one chapter at a time, one school at a time, one girl at a time, one butterfly at a time, it takes a community to make an enormous difference, a huge impact to create the butterfly effect. Funding BEP isn't just about empowering our girls, but empowering our community as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to note on, don't you have a cook-off
Yes,
coming up?
our Harvest Festival and Cook-Off, our second annual one, since
Yeah.
last year was so,
October 14th from 12 to 4?
15th.
Oh, it's the
from-
15th?
Yes, from 12
Okay.
to 4 at the First Baptist Church of Riverhead.
Yes, and I was there last year. Food was great,
Yes.
the competition, we judged the food. You were there too.
Yeah,
This
it
year.
was great.
Yes,
I
you
really
have
did.
the
It was
chance,
a lot of
yeah,
fun.
to
Yeah, so-
sample the dishes from local chefs, check out our community garden, our intergenerational community garden club.
Yes.
And it's a great time. See some of our butterflies perform as well.
And where's it going to be held at the?
The First Baptist Church of Riverhead, right on
It's the
Northfield
second
Turnpike.
annual. Good.
Yes, the second annual. So I'm just going to speak really quickly. You heard about the Butterfly Effect Project's impact from Shanissa and Vivian. And my name is Brianna Hearn, and I'm the Program and Development Director at BEP. So I'm here to discuss the breadth of our programming and our expansive reach and ask for funds to sustain it. We are now serving 600 youth across Suffolk County, primarily girls 6 to 18-year-old, but we also have opened up a chapter for boys this year, which we're really excited about. So we have 7 evening chapters, 2 of which operate in Riverhead, and 9 school chapters, 5 of which are located in Riverhead schools. So with the assistance of community partners, we have jump-started supplemental programming, all based on participant interest and passion. This includes the Intergenerational Garden Club that's being showcased at our Harvest Festival that I just mentioned, performance arts programming, a social justice action group, career preparation, which is, we have new college access programming, which features an overnight extended college tour that we're actually going on this weekend. We have a job readiness program that lands butterflies in their first jobs, and that's not to mention the countless field trips that Ms. Vivian mentioned and the essential resources we also provide to participants, their families, and communities. We've grown exponentially over our founding 8 years ago, which started in the basement of the Riverhead Library. Our small team, there's 3 of us here, we have 1 more person. Our
Tia.
executive director, Tia, work tirelessly in multiple capacities, right? We're custodians, fundraisers, managers, counselors, teachers, web developers, you name it, we do it to uplift our youth and open doors and allow them to reach their immense potential. So we need these funds to continue to do this very important work and to continue to meet the needs of participants, families, and communities we serve. We fund our programming and everybody here with the skin of our teeth through fundraisers, grants, so definitely come to the Harvest Festival, as well as private donors, but this CDBG funding really fills in the gaps, and we stretch those dollars to do so many incredible things. So this will mean so much to BEP. It would allow us to compensate our talented and dynamic staff and sustain our newly programming for the year to come. So thank you so much for your time, and we hope you allow us to continue to uplift the youth we serve, but also our entire community. Thank you so much. And I then hand in the paper and Okay, I just wanted to, this is the folder with the brochure. Thank you so much.
Anyone else from the public?
Of course.
Oh, yes. With a smile. Yes.
Okay. I am Gwendolyn Mack, Food Coordinator for the Church of the Harvest Food Pantry. I should like to start by thanking the members of the CDA Board and the Executive Director, Dawn Thomas, for the opportunity to formally request funding through the Community Block Grant Program. For the fiscal year of 2023, we are requesting $20,000. We had 10 new families today. Every Tuesday, we get more families. Our reasons are several. As with many other organizations, the COVID pandemic has created a tremendous increase in those needing nutritional food assistance. For us in particular, we have seen a number of families served each week increase by 50%. The number of shut-ins that those we deliver to has increased by 43%. And this is just the increase for the period January 1 to September 15, 2022. The increased weekly demand for food items have been accompanied by an unprecedented decrease in the available food from Long Island Harvest and Long Island Cares, our primary food supplier prior to good for those monies than the onset of the COVID of 2019-2020. I am sure you are familiar with how the disruption of transport of goods across our nation contributes to these shortages. Additionally, contributions. Yes, thank you. Have fallen off in 2022. We realize that 7,500 less from individuals' contributions. I do not believe that this is caused by donors becoming more tight-fisted, but because the town donors base has been stretched thin, all community-based organizations find themselves needing more and more each month. I am sure you will hear evidence to support this from many who have come here seeking community block grant funds today. The value of the food items we distribute each week to families across town ranges from as low as $49.23 for a family size of 1 to 3 to $98 for a family of 6 or more. In any given week, the costs are about $4,600 or $239,000 annually, and these costs will continue to rise in 2021. We have seen 11% increase alone. Our grants from Long Island Harvest and Long Island Cares significantly offset these costs, but there remains about $60,000 we must raise from outside sources. The $20,000 we seek for a community block grant will go a long way in helping keep our food pantry afloat. I can think of no greater good for those monies than giving them to those who need to eat and can benefit from our pantry assistance. I know the list of eligible projects for this money continues causes other than food assistance, but I urge you, as you review our application, to place the majority of the funds towards feeding the elderly, the poor, the children of our community. So in addition to our specific request of $20,000, I urge the board members to designate $120,000 of the total $225,000 for projects that meet the food and nutritional needs of our community. And lastly, I urge to divide the money set for food assistance equally between all applicants. Thank you for the time and consideration of our application. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Gwen.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Felicia Skakoza from Riverhead Community Awareness Program, Riverhead CAP. I just want to say that we're grateful for the Community Development Block Grant funds that help support our social work services at Roanoke Avenue Elementary School. And we are once again requesting $5,000 in 2023 from the town of Riverhead to support alcohol and drug prevention, education, counseling, and community services for students and their families in Riverhead schools. Specifically, the $5,000 grant will help support our part-time social worker at Roanoke Avenue Elementary School, which is the most impoverished school within the town of Riverhead. About 67% or two-thirds of the students in that school and their families are classified as poor. Students who work with the CAP social worker have experienced stress and trauma at an early age, which is also known as adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, you may have heard of this, that correlates with substance abuse beginning in adolescence and continuing throughout the lifespan. However, this is preventable, and as you know, CAP's all our methods focus on prevention. The connections of these families to the community resources is vital for their children's emotional and academic success. And the success of these Riverhead children will have a direct impact on the economic future of our town. Allocating CDBG funds to support these prevention programs and services is entirely appropriate and a good investment in our town's youth, families, and future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you for all the hard work you do. Oh, hi. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
Nice to see you all. Well, today, first off, I'm Judy Barth, for those that don't know me. Today, once again, I stand before you on behalf of Bread and More Kitchen. We are the community kitchen serving the less fortunate in our community. We are a volunteer-based organization providing warm, nutritious meals 3 nights a week. Located in downtown Riverhead at the First Congregational Church, we've been operating since 1990, when it was realized that there was a need in our community for this outreach. Today, we still need this, and unfortunately, the need is growing every week. During this time, we continue to see familiar faces at our doors. However, we are seeing new people that have the need to come for us for this evening meal. We are feeding an average of 70 people per night, with some nights seeing 90 guests plus. Some of these guests are homeless, some of them are just short on funds, some of them just have to make choices whether to eat or to go to the doctor. These guests come from all walks of life with their own set of obstacles. Here at Bread and More, we believe food should not be one of life's obstacles. We see that most of these people have to make choices during difficult times. Having meals provided for them enables them to make responsible choices without the fear of being hungry. Currently, we only serve takeout meals to those that come to our doors. Operating differently has also increased the cost of every meal we provide. Not only has food costs drastically increased, we now need to package our meals, which is more costly than the past of serving a sit-down meal. Hopefully, we will be able to return to that sit-down meal in a safe haven, but for now, we feel safer that we are still able to provide that meal 3 times a week to those in need. Our funding comes from donations and from the monies from this community block grant. We are grateful for the past funds that you have come, and hopefully this will continue. These funds play an important role in seeing that those in our community are having a basic need met. In being there consistently week after week, not only provides a basic need, but shows them that someone cares about their well-being. They are grateful that we are there, and we are grateful that we can be there for them. Thank you again for this opportunity to come before you to take part in this community grant. And on a personal note, I would like to thank the staff of the community development for always navigating this and getting us through. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Do you want this there? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan O'Shea. I'm the Executive Director for Maureen's Haven Homeless Outreach.
Okay.
Maureen's Haven was founded 20 years ago in 2002, And we were founded on the basis of providing compassionate care to those most in need, the homeless in our community. And here, 20 years later, we still continue with the principles that we were founded on. I'd like to also say thank you to the town of Riverhead and the town board for your continued and ongoing support of our mission to help those most in need. And I do come to you respectfully today to request funding through the Community Development Block Grant for 2023. I'd like to tell you briefly a little bit about Maureen's Haven Homeless Outreach. One, we provide a very broad range of homeless support services. So what that means is people who come to us, one, we will work with any individual regardless of their status. So a majority of the people that come to utilize Maureen's Haven are people that are truly unable or ineligible to use public services. So that is a big part of our population of people that truly cannot use public assistance and other services that are out there. But when folks come to us, we, one, as a private grassroots agency, we don't put any barriers or stipulations into them getting services. So we don't collect their health insurance information or Medicaid information. We don't do any billing to any state or government entity. We do receive annually this year it'll be about 12% from our total operations budget from local and county sources. However, when an individual comes to us, one, they have access to case management, social work, and really those critical services that help get people and individuals connected to other services. In September of 2022 alone, we've finally gotten several people through the housing voucher process to actually being moved into stable, long-term permanent housing. And that process alone can be a 2, 3, 4, 6 month process from start to actually having a person placed. We also provide a range of services and programs. Again, there's pre-pandemic and pandemic, and hopefully now we're coming out of the pandemic. But in the past, we've partnered with a lot of other local service providers. We've had mobile clinics. We've had foot clinics with Eastern Suffolk BOCES. So we're always trying to find ways to better serve our population. And just to give you a little bit of a snapshot, in 2021, we'd seen over 325 individuals requiring direct support services. Okay. As we are rounding out 2022, we fully expect that number to be over 350. A majority of those folks, almost all of them, do come from the East End, and probably about a third of that population will be coming from the town of Riverhead. My staff and I, we do a tremendous amount of outreach. So when we get a phone call from a community member or a business or a local law enforcement or a clergy, we do our best to coordinate and respond to that individual to try and reach out and to assess their needs and provide services. What a lot of people are familiar with is our emergency winter shelter program. And that is a wonderful program that we do in collaboration and partnership with houses of worship throughout the entire east end of Long Island. This year, I believe we're going back to pre-pandemic numbers, and we should have close to, I believe it's about 18 houses of worship. And these houses of worship will help us provide emergency overnight shelter to upwards to 35 individuals. That again starts November 1st. To just give you a snapshot of where we were 2 years ago and where we are now. 2, 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, we were averaging 30, 35 individuals a night. When the pandemic hit in 2020 and services across the board stopped, people who had treatment programs stopped. People who were going to counseling, drug programs, in-person programs, AA meetings, food programs, all that went away. We were one of the only agencies that remained fully operational, and to this day remain fully operational and without interruption due to COVID. That winter, we did start to see an increase in demand. So we were averaging our first winter of COVID, 35, 40, maybe 45 individuals on those cold, really difficult nights. Last winter, what we really found out is that many of the other service providers were still struggling to get operational. Other agencies that we would have worked with, whether it be the county or other shelter programs throughout Suffolk County, they were forever on quarantine or did not have a bed. Last winter, truly, the people who utilized our emergency winter shelter program had nowhere to go. They couldn't go to a library, they couldn't go to the hospital emergency room,
all the other shelters and DSSs, they really had very little or no beds. Last year, at times, we were pushing over 50 individuals in that. So it really has been an interesting time to see how, one, the community and the volunteers and the supporters of Maureen's Haven have truly come together and rallied behind our cause in the last 2 years, last 20 years. And it really is a testament that here we are at the end of a pandemic, going into yet another cold winter, and still being very proud to say that, one, again, we remain fully operational. We did not go virtual. If anything, we increased our programs. Okay. Two, we've not had one staff member, volunteer, or one of our guests get severely ill or pass away from COVID. We were extremely vigilant with testing, with meeting all the CDC guidelines. We had gotten over 200 vulnerable individuals in our community fully vaccinated when vaccinations came readily available. And we're doing everything we can to really help those most in need and those individuals who really have very limited resources, the homeless in our community. So I'd like to say thank you once again to the town of Riverhead for your ongoing support and dedication. And again, I look forward to working with you guys in the future. And yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the, wants to come forward? Chip, anyone on? Chip, anyone online?
I have two letters that were received this week from organizations that are not able to attend. Open Arms Care Center, and this, I'll just quickly read. Thank you for your this opportunity to report on our efforts and request community development funding for Open Arms Care Emergency Food Pantry. We are requesting $8,000 to support our organization to prevent hunger in our community. The all-volunteer staff of Open Arms Emergency Food Pantry has served Riverhead and the surrounding communities, distributing free food each week for more than 20 years. The need continues to increase each year. So far in 2022, we have distributed foods each month to an average of 822 households, representing a total of 31,934 individuals in the Riverhead area. Reliable community development funding has to a large extent made this contribution to our community possible. On behalf of the 31,934 individuals Open Arms has helped this year, we thank the town board for previous support of hunger prevention and look forward to your approving community development grant funding for Open Arms again this year. Sincerely, Zona Stroy. Then we have one from Catholic Helping Hands program. This has been serving the elderly and disabled in the township of Riverhead and Southampton since 1997 and is offered through Catholic Health Home Care. This much-needed support program has been addressing the needs of our community by providing non-medical support services in the homes of the elderly and disabled of any age. With the assistance of home workers, the Helping Hands program continues to allow this low-income population to remain safely and independently in their homes as long as they are able. The town of Riverhead cannot service those on Medicaid and on disability due to chronic illness, so we pick these folks up who often cannot get aids due to shortage and sadly fall through the cracks. Due to recruitment issues this year, the program ran with 3 part-time homemakers and served approximately 60 unduplicated clients. With a 4th home worker, we can assist approximately 70 clients. These clients have come to rely on our services to assist them to remain safely in their homes. The full program staff includes 1 part-time coordinator and 4 part-time home workers. The funding from Riverhead CDBG is applied towards the salaries of program staff. We are very grateful to the town for their continued support of these services for the elderly and disabled residents. We are requesting the continuation of funding for this program for 2023 from Riverhead CDBG funding. I also just want to mention the program also funds our home improvement program, which runs through our office, which many of you are familiar with. That funds repairs to homes of the elderly who meet income requirements, and we have a wait list of, how long is the wait list? Probably over a year long wait list. Dan Thompson in our office administers that program. And also that the community public service groups that are funded, the county, the HUD regulations only allow 15% of the total amount that the county allots to CDBG funding for community public service groups. So we usually get a little bit more than that, but it's on or around 15%. And we're hoping for about $225,000 this year, but there's no guarantee. Public service groups were awarded $8,000 in prior years. Last year was $5,000. So, you know, the money just gets thinner and thinner and needs to be stretched further and further. So, and then there was one other thing, Joe, I mentioned. I think that's it for that. So, thank you very much.
Okay, no one else? Oh, is there somebody? All right.
Do we keep this open if there's someone else that
Yes.
needs to come forward or
Yes.
didn't have a chance to apply?
Yeah.
There's a 30-day comment period that needs to continue from today, so that's the statutory requirement. So I think if you leave it open for 30 days for public comment, that will work.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we're now going to close this public portion of this hearing, and we're going to leave it open for written comments until 4:30 PM on October 14th, 2022, at the town clerk's office. Oh, so it is going to be 30 days. I have here listed. Can you give us the date so we can adjust it? What day?
November 7th? Yeah, November 7th.
All right, so we're gonna retract that statement, and we're gonna close this public hearing. We're gonna leave it open for written comment until November 7th, 4:30 PM at the town clerk's office. All right, moving forward to our final public hearing for today, which was scheduled at 2:30. It is now 3:23. The hearing regards the continuation of a public hearing from the town board meeting of September 20th, 2022, to hear all interested persons regarding an alleged unsafe structure at 168 Creek Road, Wading River, New York. And Eric, can you continue on with advising the board regarding this matter, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Supervisor. So this public hearing was previously adjourned. There was some concern that the property owner didn't receive notice. This public hearing concerns a prior resolution of the town board 2020-554 on October 20th, 2020, which declared a structure located at 168 Creek Road as an unsafe structure and directed that same be demolished. Subsequent thereto, there was some communication with the property owner and potential remediation to be done. Since it has been approximately 2 years, I felt it appropriate to continue, have another public hearing to sort of update the town board as to the current condition of the property. So toward that end, I have our senior building inspector here. I'm going to ask him to sit right over here. Go to the podium.
He's gonna interrogate you, so hang in there, all right?
I am.
Check the phone.
All right, so before Mr. Sophocles fields some questions, I'm going to submit to the town clerk a couple items. This is proof of mailing of the resolution to the property owner. This is a certified copy of the minutes from October 6th, 2020, that the board previously held a public hearing. I'd like to incorporate those into the record today. And then this is a copy of the certified deed that was previously submitted during that October 6th, 2020 hearing. All right, Andreas, I'm sorry, Mr. Sophocles, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, could you please identify yourself for the record?
Andreas Sophocles, Senior Building Inspector, Town of Riverhead.
All right, now, when were you hired by the town of Riverhead?
The end of May of 2020.
Now, prior to your employment with the town of Riverhead, where else did you work?
I've been in building departments for approximately 22 years, starting with the town of Smithtown and then to the town of Huntington. And I did some consulting work for the town of Muttontown, or the village of Muttontown, rather, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm a lead AP also.
Now, as a senior building inspector, what, if any, certifications do you hold?
I'm a New York State certified code enforcement official.
All right. So are you familiar with 168 Creek Road?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the prior public hearing that was held concerning this property?
Yes.
Right. And are you aware of the prior resolution that was adopted by the town board directing the demolition of it?
Yes.
Now, subsequent to that town board resolution, what, if any, building permit applications did you receive and/or review?
We did get an application to remediate the project, working with prior town attorney Kazakevich, myself, and the property owner or agent for the owner. And we got an application and some plans, but they never went forward with any further action. And it was never a complete application.
So there was no building permit ever issued for this property?
No, sir.
Now, to the best of your knowledge, was there any work conducted at this property subsequent to the October 2020 town board resolution?
Yes, at some point, without any notice or anything, they ripped the entire roof off the structure and started doing some construction, at which point Fire Marshal Zidek had issued a stop work order.
Okay. Now, subsequent to the issuance of that stop work order, to the best of your knowledge, was any other work done?
Not to my knowledge, no. It's been sitting there open to the elements since at least early June.
Now, I'm going to direct your attention to August 29 of 2022. Were you working that day?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall if you visited the property at 168 Creek Road that
Yep.
day?
I posted it as an unsafe structure on that day.
All right, now, when you arrived at that property, what, if anything, did you observe?
The same dwelling that had been sitting there and I'd visited before, except the roof was completely gone off it, and it was completely open to the elements at this point.
During the course of your inspection there, did you take any pictures?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show these to Mr. Spoklis. Just take a look at those quickly for me. No.
So, Eric, is that an exhibit?
It will be.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to make an exhibit and we have to, put it online when we're
Right.
done. Thank you.
Yes, these are the photographs I took for the. from
Those are, in fact, the
August 29th.
photographs that you took on August 29, 2022. All right. I'm going to give those to Diane as an exhibit.
So that'll be exhibit A?
Yes.
Yeah, I was exhibit A.
Okay.
Now, in summary, Mr. Sophocles, what do those pictures depict?
They depict a structure that has been sitting there for several years, that has severely deteriorated since June, because it's completely open to the elements, and especially this year, I think we've had extra torrential rains that have just gone right into the structure and made it, an unsafe structure.
And when you appeared that day at 168 Creek Road, you indicated that you also issued a notice of unsafe building?
Yep, and it's in those photographs as well.
So I'm going to hand up to the town clerk a copy of Mr. Sophocles' notice to the property owner, notifying that it's an unsafe structure under the town code and under state building code.
Listed as exhibit B.
Now, Mr. Sophocles, subsequent to you issuing that notice of unsafe building, what, if any, communications did you receive from the property owner or anyone on behalf of the property owner?
We received a letter from an engineer that he had visited the site early August.
Okay, now, did you review that letter?
Yes, sir.
And based on your observation of the property, did you agree with that engineer's letter?
I would disagree with it. Also, I would add that that letter was early August and it's now mid-October. So, again, a bunch of different torrential rains have dumped onto the property since that time. So,
And that letter was from a Louis Schwartz?
yes.
Madam Supervisor, I'm going to hand this to the town clerk to be added as an exhibit as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sophocles,
Based upon your assessment of the property as a certified code enforcement official, has the condition of the property improved since the town board resolution in October of 2020?
No, I would say it has severely deteriorated since that time.
And in your professional opinion as a building inspector and certified code enforcement officer, would it be your conclusion that the town board resolution from 2020, October of 2020, be affirmed and that the property be demolished, structure be demolished?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, town board. I have no further questions at this time.
Okay, so we,
I would be happy to take any questions that the board has while I'm here, though.
yes. Do we have anyone online? Chip? We don't. Anyone from the public in the audience?
Very thorough, thank you.
Does the board want to, anyone from the board want to comment?
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Those that should be warming up.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andreas.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you in a hearing in quite some time, right? So we're going to close this public portion section of this hearing, and it's going to remain open for written comments until 4:30 PM on October 14, 2022 at the town clerk's office. This is going to conclude all the public hearings for today, and we're going to move on to public comments on any of the resolutions before us today. Does anyone wish to be?
Want to do the CDA first, Supervisor?
You want to do the CDA first? Because I thought she was going to put.
I think we can,
She put it at the end, Devin?
Yeah, I think we can do this
Okay.
as a comment to the town board. The resolution is duplicated as a CDA resolution, so I'd like to make, if it's okay with the board, like to make the comments now. I have Kevin Brems here also that would like to address the board on the resolution.
Okay, so then you want to take it over as the CDA now?
Well, we can
We
do
had it
this-
built
we
in
can-
at the end.
We can keep it as town board, and then what I would ask the board to do is just repeat those, we'll just duplicate those comments and make them part of the CDA record as well, so we don't have to do it twice. We're going to keep the town board going now, right? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, yes.
So this is comment on
What is it?
Resolution 711 of 2022.
If you want to try that trend. Yeah, it'll be a trend, and then everybody's going to leave you letters. Yeah, you just add the letter. That's what, I make a comment to add the letter.
Okay. Are we okay to go?
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Today you have a resolution in the packet determining RXR and GGV to be a qualified and eligible sponsor for an urban renewal project, specifically the transit-oriented development project. As the supervisor outlined at the public hearing last week, the town board has 4 criteria to assess in making the determination. Those are as follows. A, experience of the individual, firm, or corporation with development, construction, management, and financing of similar projects in size and scope to the proposed project. B, demonstrated ability to finance the acquisition and development of the specific project proposed, including the review by the CDA of pro forma financial statements for the proposed project, including sources and uses of funds, certified personal and corporate financial statements of the applicant sponsor, financial commitments of participating lenders, proposed security for the project, business plans and economic analysis of the project, and past compliance with municipal laws, rules, and regulations. C, demonstrated integrity and responsibility of the applicant sponsor as determined by the CDA upon appropriate investigation by the town attorney consistent with case law. D, presentation of the applicant sponsor to the public at a prescribed hearing upon due notice at a public meeting of the CDA, providing an opportunity for the applicant sponsor to present its proposal and ability to meet the established criteria for designation by the CDA as a qualified and eligible sponsor. As you know, this project is 30 years plus in the making. The area in question has been blighted for as long as most residents of the town can remember. In an attempt to improve blighted conditions in the area of the railroad station, the town board, using New York State urban renewal law, bless you, adopted a plan for the area in 1997. The adoption of this plan in accordance with New York State law gave the town a new set of tools with which it could effectuate goals and objectives of the plan. Some of you may remember what this area looked like before it was a parking lot. There were several blighted and dilapidated homes with lots of unfortunate activity that took place. Using the New York State Urban Renewal Law tools, the town acquired, condemned, and removed those problem buildings to make way for a new parking lot. Although the creation of the parking lot was technically an improvement to the area, there was still little private investment, development, or any positive change in the blighted and unsafe conditions in the area. Since then, things have gone along pretty much as they are now. It was time to break out the toolbox again. There were several planning studies that recommended redevelopment of the town's surface parking lot, which I identified at our last meeting. The BOA study in particular, done with significant public engagement. The parking study, 2020, just been updated recently, as well as the strategic TOD plan, all of which recommended general development of a transit-oriented project. This plan the TOD plan allowed for the adoption of zoning that increased the density available to developers in the hope that one would be interested, and recommended the solicitation of a developer through an RFQ, request for qualifications. In the case of the TOD, the town had three main goals: remove blight, create economic development, and increase parking. When thinking about the new strategies we could employ to achieve the goals of these planning studies and the TOD plan, what we focused on was the urban renewal tool of public-private partnership. What is a public-private partnership? When the government has stated goals and objectives that it cannot reasonably achieve on its own, it can work with a private partner to reach them. How does this work? The local government has several tools it can use to attract a private developer to engage in a project that will fulfill the town's goals. The town can offer its land for development of a project if it wants to for less than fair market value, and pursuant to New York State law can even give it away. No bidding is required. It can increase density through zoning and/or its use of the IDA to provide incremental tax implementation. In the end, the goal is to have the TOD area developed into a vibrant, active, and safe place that also brings economic development at no cost to the taxpayers. It is not simply selling the land to the highest bidder to develop as they wish. As recommended in the TOD, the town issued a public request for qualification seeking a developer for the project. To be clear, this is not a no-bid contract. The town issued a public request in March 2020 and received 7 responses, including RXR GGV. The RFQ required developers to compete for the ability to bring their problem-solving ideas as well as their funds to the table as part of the consideration for the land, rather than the straight-out sale of the land. This partnership process guarantees that the town controls the end product and ensures that it is consistent with the urban renewal goals set forth in the plan. Remember, we are seeking a developer to invest their funds and time into what we know is the most blighted and underutilized area in town. That's a heavy lift. The TOD project that you are considering this afternoon is exactly the type of project and developer that the town had in mind when it issued the RFQ in March 21. Understanding that the town board would require the assistance and input from the community and professionals, shortly after receiving these proposals, retained National Development Council. NDC is one of the oldest national economic development nonprofit organizations with a focus on creating housing, jobs, and communities, and performing work exclusively on behalf of municipalities and local development corporations in evaluating public-private partnerships. Specifically, NDC's role was to review and research the qualifications of the proposers, including their experience in high-quality development projects, demonstrated economic benefits, prior experience as master developer, and ability to overcome project challenges, collaborative experience, and capacity to finance and/or structure finance, review references from reputable contacts, including involving related projects, and to review, evaluate, and research planning, zoning, and economic development documents, the community benefits, both monetary and non-monetary, that would be provided by the proposed project. Additionally, at the same time, the town board assembled an RFQ committee comprised of local community and business leaders to evaluate the proposals and recommend 3 finalists to it. The committee heard multiple presentations from each of the developers, asked many hard questions relative to their respective business plans, experience, finances, sources and uses, and demonstrated ability to finance a proposed project. Thereafter, the committee, together with the Community Development Department and NDC, reviewed the final submissions of the 3 finalists and submitted a report to the town board recommending that based on its proven record with joint ventures and extensive experience with large-scale transformative transit-oriented development, offer, as well as their offer for payment for the subject parcel to RXR GGV. Based upon this recommendation and following a public presentation to the town board selected RXR and GGV as master developer, subject to the negotiation of all terms and timeline to lead to the TOD and general municipal law qualified and eligible sponsor determination related to the project. During this time, the County of Suffolk, who has worked with RXR and GGV in the past, formally contacted the town to offer the transfer of its parking lot on Griffin Avenue to be part of the project. In the meantime, while the town, CDA, NDC, and the committee were working on the master developer agreement with RXR GGV, the town was awarded the $10 million DRI grant. As you will recall, the DRI process required the creation of a local planning committee and involved multiple public participation opportunities where the details of the TOD project could be fully discussed and viewed on a dedicated website, as well as at public meetings. As with all DRI projects, the local planning committee had the assistance of Perkins Eastman with their planning and economic development experts, as well as the Department of State to aid in vetting RXR GGV's development plan, as well as verifying their experience and financial wherewithal and ability to complete the project based on past experience. After reviewing and vetting the application, the local planning committee ultimately recommended the project receive $2.75 million in DRI funding. Ultimately, the town attorney's office, the CDA, and NDC's negotiations with RXR GGV resulted in the proposed agreement, which was attached to the resolution that announced the public hearing, which took place last week. So that agreement was posted publicly on September 14th, 2 weeks prior to the public hearing, so that the public had an opportunity to review that agreement and ask questions about the project and transactional real estate component of it. Last week, RXR GGV formally presented the project to you again for the purpose of being determined qualified and eligible for this urban renewal project. That presentation contained information relative to their business plan, past experience on similar projects, financial wherewithal based upon official financial representations from their respective CFOs, recommendations and commitments from their banking partners and previous public partners. It is abundantly clear, based upon the 1.5 years long review of this RXR GGV project, and the synthesis of that review is contained in the public hearing and the public record, that they have overwhelmingly established that they meet the criteria necessary to be deemed qualified and eligible for the purposes of this important urban renewal project. The exhaustive review that has been done over the past year and a half ensures that, should the town board determine RXR GGV as qualified and eligible, it will have fulfilled its fiduciary duty to the taxpayers of the town of Riverhead. In addition, Kevin Grims from NDC is here. He'd like to also address the board just briefly on this resolution. Thank you.
Mr. Grant, you're going to come forward? Can you give us a little background as to your organization, what you do, what you stand for, what you've done in the past on the projects?
Sure.
I'm not too sure that a lot of people understand who you are. We know that you're a viable company, well-established. We know that you are our consultants to look at financial stability in any of the projects that we're building. But I just really think that the public should be a little bit more aware of your background. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Kevin Grims, Senior Director at National Development Council. Per your request, National Development Council is a 51-year-old national nonprofit. We were created for purposes of increasing the flow of capital and in underserved marketplaces throughout the country. Our job is to provide technical advisory services and to look at and to help our client communities. And our client communities are only municipalities and public benefit corporations and nonprofits. And our job is to really serve as the third-party objective intermediary between the development community, operating businesses, and the municipalities in which they're looking to invest. Oftentimes for a development like this, it's going to require a public incentive package, and the land is made available, and it's done through a public vetting process and solicitation process. So in this case, the town of Riverhead had both an RFQ that morphed into a more detailed and request for proposal based upon a set of questions that were raised during the review of the submission of the qualifications. So we created a more detailed set of questions and requirements for all of the applicants to respond to. Now, we have done this all over the country. At any given time, we're active in about 100 communities around the country. We have been involved in dozens, if not hundreds, of public solicitation processes for making land available or, disposition of publicly owned land for redevelopment opportunities such as this. And I must say, this is one of the most thoroughly vetted processes and best responded to RFQ, RFP that I've been around. I mean, there's a lot of interest in Riverhead, but I think it also provides good testament to all of you as elected officials and the staff.
I'm glad that you say that, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I also wanted to make it a point, there was a tremendous amount of community engagement on many, many fronts. And for some reason, some people disregard that, and it's important to engage the community when you're governing, and this is a perfect example. Thank you.
Yeah, so the level of responses is admirable, to be noted. 7 responses to the RFQ. That was shortlisted down to 3 very qualified developers, some of the most reputable and accomplished developers in all of the tri-state area. Not only the development team that was selected, but those that weren't selected are still among the most reputable and accomplished developers for exactly this type of proposal, mixed use, mixed income, transit-oriented development. Now, over the years, NDC, we have created a range of affiliated companies. So we have a lending division, we have an equity division, and then we also have a development division where we develop public facilities on behalf of our municipal clients. So when we're reviewing these proposals and vetting the proposals and development teams, we're doing this from the perspective of looking at these deals from the standpoint of a lender and an equity investor. And we're pretty familiar with what the thresholds are required from the lenders and the investors in order for these developments to be financially feasible. So what was proposed by the development team is a very straightforward market, conventional capital structure, but and what is at play is the dollar amount the land will be sold at, as well as their tax seal. But certainly, based upon their experience in placing into service a comparable product, mixed use, mixed income, transit-oriented development, they have shown more than ample, they have demonstrated their ability to do this based upon several marketplaces in which they've done so. I know because we have worked with some of the members of the development team in other marketplaces where they have been designated master development in places like the city of New Rochelle, city of Glen Cove, and the village of Hempstead. The latter place, the latter example, they has not yet started the development, but that was for other reasons. But in the city of New Rochelle, this development team, members of the development team, they were selected master developer, and since then, there have been more than $4 billion of development approved in that city. Now, I know what you're saying. You don't want $4 billion of development here in the town of Riverhead. This is on a different scale. But certainly, based upon their ability of sourcing hundreds of million dollars annually in debt and equity, this is a development team that is qualified and eligible to move forward on the development proposal. Ms. Thomas gave a very, very thorough overview of the process. Again, I would say it was a very vetted and thorough process for purposes of selecting a qualified and eligible development team. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Anyone from the board want to comment?
No, I think it was very well explained. It makes me wonder how the word cronyism ever entered into an equation anywhere with this whole process.
from the RFP to the committee that was formed and narrowed down and then presented to the board. I think this was unfairly portrayed publicly, and I just want to thank you for all the clarification.
Sure, welcome.
And again, I was happy to hear that it was a well-vetted process, and we did a good job with the RFQ. That's what we should be doing, the quality of the work.
You have a lot to look forward to.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
And I'm also taken back when people attack this project, and claim that, again, cronyism and people rubber stamping stuff, and not good reporting, but I guess it sells, news. So we're gonna continue to do what we know is right in our hearts, and to represent the public, and to be fair, and but thank you again for being before us.
You're welcome.
So Kevin, what do you think? Shovel on the ground in what, April? Like New Rochelle would do? How do we look?
We'll see, not too far away.
Yes,
Okay, great.
still a little bit of a process, but today's it's gonna be a big day in Riverhead, because we're gonna finally move our first major project forward, hopefully, depending on how the board votes. No, anyone else want to come forward with any comments? We're only doing CDA resolutions, Chip. Is there someone there? And if it's not related to a CDA
We're doing the
resolution,
town board,
then
we're
you're
doing
gonna,
the town board resolution.
We're still town board doing the
Okay.
CDA
And
resolution.
then the CDA resolution is an identical resolution, and everything that's just been said now is gonna be incorporated
Right, that's
into
what
the
you
record
mentioned
when we
before.
open the
Okay.
CDA meeting.
so it's for the CDA resolution. So who's up?
So Mike, this is only for the CDA resolution?
Town board resolution.
No, only
Town board.
town board.
Town board.
Okay.
The town board resolution pertaining to.
Next time we gotta get this right, who's gonna do
It's
what,
a,
because.
it's a duplicate, it's a little confusing because it's duplicated, so I don't know if Mr. Foley wants to comment, but either case, if it's on this particular resolution, now's fine, I think.
We were on two resolutions, but this one happens to be one of them.
So he can comment on the one, and then,
All comments will be carried over for the second one.
Yeah, you can
automatically.
incorporate any comments into the record of the CDA meeting, too.
okay.
Mike, you're on?
Okay. It was on.
Mike, can you start over, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mike Foley from Reeves Park. And this was a little bit confusing, mostly because the CDA meetings normally start before the town board meeting. You did this differently and understanding from the highly deserved honor that you started this board meeting on. But in regards to the RXR qualified and eligible hearing, qualified and eligible has to be consistent with anybody that comes before the board, or any board for that matter. And my concern came about, I zoomed in on the qualified and eligible hearing for RXR. I thought they did a very good job, and I assumed when I heard the presentation and asked my questions, and they were answered, that the qualifications stated by Yvette, reading that there had to be a certified financial plan, that there had to be a business plan and an analysis submitted to the board. I assumed that all of those things that were required by the town board process were complied with. And then I read the Riverhead Local article, which calls into question whether you received the certified financial statement. And I will state that because I attended it, certainly the business plan and the economic analysis was thoughtfully explained, and there were Q&Es questions and answer sessions that you could ask for that. I felt that just the verbal business plan and economic analysis was sufficient for me. But I want to make sure going forward, especially when we have something that's been in the works now for almost a decade, with 555 coming in, going to an IDA process as well for qualified and eligible, that all of these things are being applied consistency, so that we're not leaving the town in any legal jeopardy for disparate treatment, preferential treatment, or discriminatory treatment. So I'll just ask the board, and Eric also, obviously, representing the town legally, did RXR in fact submit a certified financial statement as well as a business plan and an economic analysis for the board's perusal?
Mike, I can actually defer that to Dawn.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Foley. The criteria that are outlined in the resolution, I just have to grab it. The criteria that are outlined in the resolution that establish the criteria for this Q&E process, which I now can't find my, hold on one second. Contains a list of items, and I think what I would say relating to that specific list of items is that some of the items, the ability to provide some of the items will be dependent upon the project and the state and the status of the project, the type of project and status of the project. So for instance, the CAT project is the proposal to develop raw land that has no infrastructure. And this project is the project to redevelop a TOD. So, and at this particular juncture, we have not transferred the property to the developer because the agreement hasn't been signed, and therefore, their ability to obtain things like commitment letters from banks would not be appropriate at this time. So the board uses this as guidelines for those things that it would look to, and probably this list should have said including but not limited to, the review of these types of documents. So at the public hearing last week, Reckler or RXR produced documented letters from their certified, their CFOs, indicating that those entities had the financial wherewithal to produce the project based on the sources and uses that were produced to this town board and to NDC and the business plan as part of this entire process. So those CFOs have a legal and fiduciary responsibility to correctly report the condition of the entity to the board. So those representations are sufficient, as is the business plan that they submitted as pursuant to the presentation that they made, the sources and uses that they presented to the town board. The ultimate obligation of the board is to demonstrate that they establish a demonstrated ability to finance the acquisition and develop of the specific project proposed. So, I think that's my best explanation as to those things. This is a private entity. I think the same thing with CAT, whether they are able to produce their certified financial documents. If they were required to, they would not be public. Those would not be available to the public. So hopefully that answers your question, if you're still there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else from the public want to come forward?
So, Dawn, if I could just real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, in reading the criteria that are set forth in the CDA rules, it lists a bunch of, things that the CDA is supposed to review. Now, in focusing in on exactly what that says, are we sort of focusing on form rather than substance?
I think, as I said earlier, it probably would have been more artfully drafted if it said including but not limited to. I think some of those things would be applicable to certain projects and some would not be applicable to other projects. Again, RXR produced letters from a multitude of lenders that they worked with in the past indicating that they've reviewed the project, they're interested in working on the project. Could they issue a bank commitment as if they were as a lending commitment for a mortgage? No, they don't own the property yet. The project isn't designed fully yet. It's conceptual at this point. So To the extent that those things are available, yes, the board would want to get everything and anything it could get to make that determination, and I think it's pretty clear that based on the record, that they have done that.
Okay.
And with the advice of their consultant and the local planning committee who vetted all of the projects. Thank you.
Okay, any comments on any of the resolutions? A meeting would not be a town board meeting without you.
I know, I think some of us are almost ex officio members.
Yeah, you are.
John McAuliffe from Roanoke Landing. I wanted to ask a question or comment on Resolution 707, the appointment of the new member of the IDA. Is Mr. Williams in the room? I wanted to be clear that my comment has...
CDA resolution.
Yeah, but according
No,
to
but
Devin, we're going back to...
We're back on the...
We're back on to the...
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, you can go forward.
All right.
Sorry,
So,
John, go ahead.
That's okay. You are always trying to do a lot of things in these meetings. I want to be I was asking if he was here because I wanted to be very clear that my comments have nothing to do with him. I think it would be very useful if you said something about his background before you moved on the resolution. I think it also would be very useful if you said something about the process. The resolution says something about he had applied at a previous time. This goes to the larger question of these various town boards that you appoint, or committees that you appoint, that there doesn't ever seem to be a public announcement about a vacancy and a request for applications and then a comparative vetting of applicants. I don't know that that's a public process, but at least it would be good to know that there had been a process that had gone through. I think it's also, I have no idea what what his race is. I think that it's notable that the boards in general are disproportionately not representative of the community. In this particular case, the IDA is completely white, and it has one woman of the five. It's always a difficult complication of making appointments, but I think it ought to be part of the process that you're making an effort to have these appointed groups, which in fact have very important roles in the functioning and government of the town, that they're reflective of the population in the town. It's obviously IDA right now, and I'll talk later about this, but it's not relevant to the agenda, this part of the agenda, but I think IDA has a particularly important role right now because of the EPCAL issues. So, at any rate, if you could say something about the process of how you deal with vacancies in this, and how you dealt with this particular vacancy, and what you can tell us about Mr. Williams. Thank you.
Yes, John, and yes, there was an opening in the IDA. You got to be mindful that the IDA is an independent board. We do select the members as a town, as a board, town board. We were notified that a vacancy occurred. We did as we always do in any vacancy. We go through to Indeed and we post. And in this case, for the IDA, we posted. All the applications that were received were given to the IDA. They're entitled to have their own meetings, discussions, and the board will also receive copies. And we decide how we want to speak to the individuals, if we think that the application is sufficient. Each board member decides how they're going to go about a possible selection. And once you get 3 individuals, where one person may speak to 2 other members, a resolution is put forward, and there is a resolution before us. I understand your concerns about having different people on the board. My selection is based on qualifications, not on people's personal, complexion or who they
Gender,
are, or gender.
religion, creed, any
Religion,
of that.
because that's not in the best interest of the town. And so there is a resolution before us here. I did speak to Mr. Farley before. Actually, as I walked into the meeting today, I was on the phone with him. He became aware that there is a resolution. I spoke to Mr. Farley, and every single point that you raised, he raised. And we're hoping that if whoever becomes a member of the IDA board, they're going to work and represent us and the entire community equally, fairly, and without reservation. Okay, moving forward, do we have any other comments? Okay.
You're on, Ron? Mr. Hariri? I'm on. You're on. Yes, Ron Hariri, Aquabog. First of all, I'd like to state my objection to you proceeding and holding this hearing on Yom Kippur, which I believe reflects the board's anti-Semitic bias and insensitivity to our friends in the Jewish community. I would ask that this hearing and the resolutions be adjourned to another date.
There's no open hearing right now.
Which doesn't conflict with the religious holiday. Secondly, I think Mr. Foley asked a legitimate and straightforward question, namely, did the town consider certified financial statements? And I just want to clarify, and perhaps you can direct my question to Ms. Thomas. Is her response that in fact no certified financial statements were provided or reviewed in connection with this resolution?
John, did you want to respond to that question?
The answer to the question is, yes, we did not receive certified financial statements. Rather, we relied on the CFO certified statements of their financial officers, together with the advice of NDC and six separate bank recommendations from TD Bank, M&T Bank, there was
Various lenders.
various lenders, yes.
Yeah, just to clarify, Ms. Thomas, those documents purportedly provided by banks, none of them is a formal written commitment, is it?
Correct, I answered that question earlier. It would not be possible to get a commitment until the project is further along.
In fact,
this is
isn't it
correct.
a fact that the town received a letter of interest in connection with the Calverton Aviation
Okay, you're
application?
making a comment. This is not a cross-examination back and forth, Mr. Harari.
I'm making a
Why don't you
comment
make your
regarding
comments
the
and then we'll respond
documents-
afterwards, okay?
The documents that have been relied upon purportedly by the town, and I want to point out that the town received a letter of interest similar to the letter of interest received in connection with this transaction from Goldman Sachs with respect to the Calvert and Aviation eligible and qualified hearing. And in fact, Goldman Sachs is one of the creditors that apparently is no longer has any interest in the EPCAL purchase. And in fact,
Would you
actually
correct me, what
was one of the
resolution
creditors-
is,
was
hold
one of
on
the
1 second.
creditors
Mr.
that
Harari, you
proposed-
have to allow for an exchange, okay?
I'm happy to have an exchange.
Hold on a
but-
second. There isn't a CAT resolution before us. Can we stay within the resolutions before us? You want to have a comment? Later on, at open comment at the end of the meeting, come in and bring up other topics.
I'm addressing this resolution, and my question is it the same type of letter of interest as opposed to a formal financial commitment, exactly what the town got with Calvert and Aviation from a party that now, instead of proceeding with any assistance in a purchase at EPCAL, is actually one of the creditors that foreclosed on affiliates of the applicant's properties in Minnesota
Yeah, but the time's running out.
and in Canada. Yes or no?
Is that your comments? You completed your comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
O'Brien or Colleen.
Call from 164.
Yes, I have. Ronald Park.
Okay, who's gonna reset the clock? Okay,
Ronald Park is on Zoom. Oh, there we go.
Ronald Park, okay.
You're on, Mr. Park?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. I won't be long. My name is Ronald Park with the law firm Henshaw & Culbertson, and our office represents the investor Deutsche Bank National Trust Company and the loan servicer Aquin Loan Servicing, aka PHH Mortgage Services,
Okay.
who services. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Who services the mortgage attached to the subject property located at 330 Baywood Drive, Calverton, New York. That's resolution number 12. It's the determination of categorizing the property as blighted. I respectfully request that the property not be declared a blighted property because the lender's property maintenance vendor could not proceed with the remediations until the property was determined to be fully vacated. Upon my review of the inspection reports that were provided by the vendor, it was determined that the property was occupied up until July 2022, which is why Deutsche Bank could not enter and address the issues sooner. The prior owner passed away, I believe, in December 2021. We've been attempting to enter and remediate the issues, and some of the issues have been addressed since the last hearing earlier in September. Again, this property is still under foreclosure in the Suffolk County Supreme Court, and the bank does not own the property. However, I will continue to advise the vendor to pursue efforts in addressing the issues and we just request that the property not be classified as a blighted property. Thank you.
There was a neighbor that testified, nobody was.
There was.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the public hearing that we held 2 weeks ago, there was testimony from a neighbor who indicated that the property wasn't occupied. There was also testimony and exhibits in the form of photographs submitted to the town board depicting the blighted nature of the property. When Town Investigator Downs conducts a blighted property inspection, he has a checklist, and it mostly relates to the exterior of the premises, and that's really what the bulk of the testimony on September 20th was directed to, sort of the unkempt nature of it, the deficiencies in the deck and the railings, and so forth. And so the resolution that's before you today is to designate it blighted, which under Chapter 217 of the Town Code will allow us to assess a $2,500 fee against the property for registration as a blighted property. Now, in terms of further remediation of the exterior conditions of the property, that can be the subject of the property owner or whatever interest holder would like to enter on the property and clean it up. If the town doesn't have to go there and do those things, obviously, we wouldn't be assessing further costs based on that work.
All right. Thank you for the update. Anyone else? Any comments, Chip? Anybody? No one? How about the board? Any comments? Okay. Therefore, we're going to move on to resolutions. Diane, can you please call the resolution for today?
Certainly. Resolution 697.
Of course I'm not. And the computer's froze. Resolution 697, 1716 Route 58 LLC Riverhead Dodge Capital Project, number 82221, budget adoption. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 698.
Ambulance District Budget Transfer. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 699.
Tag Building HVAC Project Budget Adjustment. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 700.
Water District Budget Transfer. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 701.
Riverhead Sewer District and Scavenger Waste District budget transfers. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Yes.
Aguiar. Resolution adopted. Resolution 702.
Appoints a homemaker. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 703.
Appoints a water treatment plant operator trainee. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 704.
Authorizes the filing of an application for New York State assistance from the Municipal Waste Reduction and Recycling Program and signing of the associated state contract under the appropriate laws of New York State. So moved.
Vote, second it. Who's going to second?
I will. Seconded.
Thank you. Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 705.
Accepts the resignation of an automotive equipment operator. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 706.
Approves additional sick leave. Nunc pro tunc. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 707.
Accepts resignation of and appoints member to the Town of Riverhead Industrial Development Agency. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 708.
Determination and declaration that the property known as 330 Baywood Avenue Drive, Calverton, New York, 11901, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-040-.00-6-1 is blighted and assessing costs against subject property. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 709.
Bear with me. A resolution authorizing, yep. A resolution authorizing the Riverhead Community Development Agency, CDA, to retain Smith, Finkelstein, Lundberg, Eisler, and Yakubowski, LLC, as special counsel for the CDA with respect to the CDA's joint application with Calverton Aviation and Technology, LLC, CAT, to the Town of Riverhead Industrial Development Agency, IDA, to transfer title to all of the acreage CDA owns at the Enterprise Park at Calverton, known as EPCAL, in order to facilitate the sale and transfer of approximately 1,643 plus or minus acres at EPCAL to Calverton Aviation and Technology LLC, CAT, pursuant to the terms of the agreement of sale between the CDA and CAT dated November 19, 2018, the agreement, except as amended and agreed to as set forth and reflected by the terms of Town Board Resolution Number 246 and CDA Resolution Number 4, adopted on March 24, 2022, and letter agreement between the CDA, Town, and CAT, and agreement between the CDA and IDA for transfer of the remaining property. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Is there a special school attorneys go to write stuff like this? I mean, there's got to be like, I vote yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, it's better than a doctor, possibly.
At least you can read it.
Resolution adopted. We'll skip resolution 710 since we already
Adopted it.
adopted that earlier.
Langhorn?
And now we're on to 711.
Authorization to enter into an agreement with joint venture entity between RXR and Georgica Green, GGV, to retain certified environmental professional for the Town of Riverhead Transportation Overlay District, TOD project. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution
What?
adopted.
You fix it.
Resolution
Wait a minute.
712.
Order establishing lateral water main extension replacement at 205 Osborne Avenue, Riverhead, New York for none of it. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 713.
Order establishing water main extension for Norfolk Developers LLC. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 714.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post bid for ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. So moved.
Second.
Yep, vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 715.
Adopts a local law amending Chapter 263 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Rental Dwelling Units, Section 8, thereof entitled Review of Application, Inspections, and Issuance of Permit. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 716.
Is that me?
That's
Oops,
Yes.
sorry. Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 217, Article 7 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Front Yard Restrictions and Driveways. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 717.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 101, Open Meetings Law. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 718.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider adopting a local law to override the tax levy limit established by and set forth in Article 2, Section 3C of the General Municipal Law. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 719.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice of public hearing to consider the adoption of the 2023 preliminary annual budget for the town of Riverhead.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 720.
Authorizes parking improvements at Veterans Memorial Park to serve as parking for the improvements at Veterans Memorial Park and fire and emergency access to serve Veterans Memorial Park and Island Water Park. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Sayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 721.
Resolution to authorize an agreement between the town board as legislative body for the town of Riverhead
and highway superintendent for loose leaf pickup, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
I just want to state, because the highway superintendent has been very gracious, we've worked on this for a long time, he's itemized a cost where it will, in the future, this will be separated, so this is going to be an additional task that we may ask him to perform, and so he had concerns about, what if there's a hurricane or another storm, or anything that prevents him, and we understand that there may be some other needs that may fall outside of this the parameters that prevents him from doing this, but the idea is he intends to do the leaf pickup. I think he was nervous about being boxed in to have to do it if there was other winter storms coming in, hurricanes and things like that, so.
Yeah, he's already under highway law and town law. He already has the ability to come to the town board and make a case as to why he can't
Right,
take on
to
it.
redirect his responsibilities, but
That's the only thing I was just saying, is that it will be addressed, and I'm voting yes for this, but it just, obviously, we'll always take into consideration if there's something out of the ordinary that takes place.
Right, the highway's job under the highway superintendent is first and foremost.
yes.
This is in addition to that, and we understand that, and if a situation such as a natural disaster or anything else happened, we understand that the highway department would have to do that, and if
We
they
have to
couldn't
come
get
to
to the
us
leaves, they
and-
couldn't get to the leaves. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yes.
just the way it's gonna be.
Right.
I'm just expressing my understandings towards him and his concerns.
Right.
So by voting
Okay.
yes.
Okay, we're up to Bayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Now we're up to resolution 671, which
I'm
is.
gonna make a
has been
motion to
tabled.
untable motion.
I was just gonna,
Yeah.
Resolution 671, I'd like to make a motion to untable
Untable.
it.
A
So-
second.
So moved.
all right, take a vote on untabling the resolution, please, Diane?
Certainly Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrod.
Yes to untable.
Hubbard.
Yes to untable.
Aguirre.
Yes to untable.
Okay, resolution
Okay, so now
671
we're
is
go-
untabled.
Okay, 671 says authorization for supervisor to execute an agreement with Peconic Hockey Foundation Incorporated. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
So I just want to clarify, this is really a housekeeping matter, so I don't want anybody to get nervous. There was an original contract that was presented in our county. I praise Eric, you've been working excellent over this for the past few months. So in order for housekeeping, we have to untable, this is not the contract in which we're voting on. So we're going to have a new contract and a new resolution in momentarily. So in terms of housekeeping, we have to eliminate the old to bring in the new. So that's all, this is
Well
housekeeping.
said,
So, all
well
right?
said.
So on this, I vote no.
I'll start with
But it's
Kern.
not your turn, so
Okay.
just hold your horses.
He's so eager.
Hold your hockey pucks.
Kern.
Confused when I'm voting no, but
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there was another way around it, but this is the route we're going.
You don't want to adopt this
I got it.
resolution.
We're
because
not
this
gonna adopt
resolution
it.
doesn't have the final.
understood.
And it
draft of the
should,
contract.
and the public should have that. Should have the entire document.
Now we're up to Rothwell.
So,
No on this particular one, stand by.
Okay. Bayrod.
No.
Hubbard.
No.
Aguirre.
no on 2022, 671, no.
So resolution 671 is not adopted.
Okay, so now that's all cleared?
That's all clear. Now we're up
Okay.
to resolution 722.
Authorization for supervisor to execute an agreement with Peconic Hockey Foundation, Inc. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes, thank you with great debt to Kanakaki Foundation for their donation to this town, for working with us.
With,
And so this is going to be great for all of our Riverhead Town residents. We worked on this a long time. Thank you. Our town attorney, Eric Howard, has put countless hours into this, days. He's getting tired of my phone calls. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
And so
I just
Proudly vote yes.
okay, I'm gonna make a note here.
This is what we'll do.
Where is the appendix to this? The public needs to know
The
before we
appendix-
adopt,
The appendix. should
it's
be-
not on the resolution, and this has been my case all along. It's not here.
The resolution that was supposed to be attached to this was supposed to.
It was supposed to be attached, but How do I vote on something when I don't have the map? It's like buying a house without a survey, and you don't know how far, where things are
I
going.
can go to the office and I can get it
So
right
why
now.
don't we just
So why
pause
don't we
short?
add
It should-
it?
it should-
Well, that's a good idea,
It-
right.
it- it
Let's
should
pause,
be.
we wanna work on
It
this.
was, hang on, I just want to be clear. The exact same thing was attached to the contract that went with 671.
Right, but that's
So it
dead.
was-
We need to show
Right,
the
right, but I'm
public.
saying it
Yeah,
should have
so
already
let's
been.
get it, and we can add it, we can add it to the resolution, and then, huh? And vote as amended. Let's get this right from the first time. So,
I have it right here.
yeah, thank you, Eric. So why don't we go on with the resolutions?
Got it here.
It's right
right
there. So,
Do you want me to continue with the vote, or you?
okay, so this is,
So we'd amend the we'd amend the attachment to the
we're
resolution.
gonna amend the resolution to add the attachment, because we already put it out there without the
Right.
attachment.
This
So
is-
we have to amend it
Okay.
to attach, and then we're going to attach this and put it online, and then we have a proper resolution, so here you go. That's, and that has to go online.
Are we starting now?
Yes, let's just, start over with the resolution to be amended.
Okay, so resolution 722.
So we're gonna
Read it
amend
again?
We're gonna vote for the amended,
Right,
yeah.
we got that far already.
Yeah, but then we have to read it. Don't we have to read it again?
With the attachment
read.
as amended.
Yeah, but not read as amended,
With the attachment as.
With the attachment as amended.
okay? So continue. Yeah, because then we were amending it.
All right, so we'll amend Resolution 2022-722 as amended to add the addendum, which basically is the site plan. Authorization for supervisor to execute an agreement with Peconic Hockey Foundation Incorporated, so moved.
Second,
Vote please,
Kern.
yes,
as amended.
as amended.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes,
Aguirre.
Yes, as amended, and finally, we got to a good contract. The first one looked like an EPTAL contract, but we finally got it done as best as we can, and we look forward to this project, and thank you for believing in us. And now everything is set in place, including the amendment, so nobody can say that we're not, we're hiding any documents. And we're gonna go on forward to the next resolution.
Okay, so resolution 722 is adopted. Now we'll move on to resolution 723.
Oh, Tim?
a resolution designating joint venture entity between RXR Realty, RXR, and Georgica Green Ventures, GGV, previously designated master developer as a qualified and eligible sponsor for the purchase and development of 2 ± acre town-owned property, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-128-3- lots 001.00 through 011.00, located on Court Street, and transfer of all or a portion thereof and redevelopment of 2 parcels owned by the County of Suffolk located on Griffin Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers 0600-128-00-05.00, lots 001.000 and 002.000. So moved.
Second.
I tell ya.
Kern.
Vote please.
Yes.
Sir?
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 724.
Watch this. Pays bills. That's it. Short, sweet.
Listen, they know I got the most hot air of anybody up here. That's why you get to read the long
I'm
ones.
going to second this long resolution and this Councilman Rothwell had to read.
Yes.
Second,
Yes. Yes.
Kern.
yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay. Are you coming back? Should I wait a minute?
No, go right ahead. What do we do? We're
With
just
the
going
open comments, or are you
Yes.
running away from that?
No, I need to make a call and I'll be right back.
Is that an option?
Start,
Is that an option?
isn't it? All right,
Okay, so Diane, thank you. This is going to conclude our resolutions for today. And at this moment, we are going to open the meeting up for public comments on any matter.
Eric,
John McAuliffe again from Roanoke Landing. I wanted to say something following our earlier dialogue. One of the issues of qualifications, I mean, this is not a new discussion, it's not new to town government, it's not new to university admissions or anything else, but one of the issues of qualifications, I think, is to try to get perspectives from the diversity of the community in these important decision-making and advisory groups, so that hopefully that will be considered as one of the qualifications. Any rate, the main thing I wanted to talk about at this point is, of course, my favorite topic, EPCAL. And I know that the eyelids may go down and may think, oh, he's going to do it again, but Bob Kern was here for the IDA meeting. I don't know whether others have had a chance to, whether you were watching it online or whether you've had a chance to look at it, but I would hope that you would watch it and go particularly to the presentations by the representatives of the Germasians of 555. I think we've discovered now at this stage, late stage of the process, really what the agenda is for what EPCAL is to become if they're allowed through the IDA process to do it. If you listen to the presentations, Chris Kent does all of the things about the aspirations, the thing we'd all love to have happen, that somehow this will be the Silicon Valley of the East Coast. But when you get to the substance, when you get to the statements from the engineer, from the various representatives of the Germasians, it's very clear that they are primarily driven by market. They refer to the potential use of the flex buildings for aerospace, engineering, education, and a variety of other things. But the real juice in the presentation is to adapt the use of the land to the market. And that's where the presentation comes in of the hub, which is illustrated well in the nice glossy picture they produced of one side of the building having cargo planes and the other side having tractor trailers. And stuff coming and going, probably going both directions, maybe just one direction, but that it becomes a hub for moving goods out, not just to local consumers, but in the whole east end of Long Island. So I think that's really where they're going, and I don't think that's what any of us want to happen at EPCAL. And I think that we have to think about, I was not here when the referendum took place, or maybe it was before we were full-time here, but the referendum on not wanting it to be a passenger airport. Well, I think that had the question been asked, what about a cargo hub or a hub for transfer between trucks and buses for a distribution center, I would suspect that the vote would have been equally as strong against that as against it being a passenger airport. I think that there is a moment now that IDA, months and months and months, I think, a lot longer than the time that's been suggested by the end of the year, but through this process, IDA has to think about what Riverhead is going to look like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, if EPCAL becomes a major distribution point for goods. Maybe also along the way they'll do those other things. I don't know. I've been skeptical from the beginning about whether that's real or whether that's just they're saying what they know you and the town want to hear. But I think the objective evidence that we have, and again, I urge people to watch that part of the IDA meeting. The objective evidence we have right now is what they want to put in is a distribution hub, and it's not surprising now what HK Ventures wants to put in adjacent to EPCAL, because it will fit into that distribution hub model. I think we have to really make up our minds that we don't want Riverhead and this part of the East End with cargo planes and tractor trailers defining what our lifestyle is. So that's, you've now passed the burden of that on to IDA, but I think it's based on your assumptions that, as to what that's going to become, and I think those assumptions have to be re-examined. Thanks very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John, and I just want to add that you touched upon again on the IDA designation for an empty seat. We were notified by the IDA, again, independent agency, that there was a vacancy, and it was vacant for quite some time, I believe a couple of months. We posted it Indeed, where we post all vacancies and when we're looking for employees. The IDA put feelers out there. Maybe there were conversations back and forth. They never put a name forward. We obtained, at the day that they closed the acceptance of applications, we provided the IDA with copies, and we provided the board with copies, and the board decided to move forward. And again, I was on the phone with Farley, and this was all explained to him. If the IDA had a name or someone that they thought was appropriate or fit the post, no one put anything forward to us, and we have to fill that seat. And again, it doesn't matter. We want the best and the most qualified person.
Since you mentioned it, where was it posted? I mean, I'm not,
It's on Indeed. where we-
Indeed.
Indeed is
Indeed,
the.
okay, but not on the town.
I believe it was also, was it posted? Yes, we believe.
Okay,
she can
I'm
check.
curious, because I don't read absolutely everything you put out, but
Yeah,
I do
don't
read a
either.
lot of it, and I never
Yeah,
noticed.
we, pretty sure that, can you check the website, but, she'll let you know before we leave.
yeah.
It's on the website, so it's on the town website, and it's on Indeed, people, were aware of it. So, moving forward, anyone else with any other comments?
It's almost good evening. Kathy McGraw from Northville. I hope you're warmer up there than we are shaking out here.
Yeah, I see Grace sitting here before like this.
No.
I don't know, I find this balmy. I like this.
Don't you wish you were at home now on Zoom?
Yes. But I'm here, and I wanted to be here. The sale of the land at EPCAL to 555 is ultimately the responsibility of the CDA and you, the town board. Yet you've chosen to try to shift that responsibility to the IDA, an agency whose sole purpose is to decide if developers should get tax breaks on projects that are all set to go. That's the normal status of a project in front of the IDA. 555's Calverton plan is not a project all set to go. It's a conceptual project without a site plan, let alone an approved site plan. It's had no architectural review, no needed zoning or permit approvals, all things that the IDA said it must have before approving an inducement resolution in this matter. That's in their resolution accepting the application. I'm not quite sure how that's all going to happen and how it's going to shake out. Also, in your joint application to the IDA, you are also asking the IDA to do the SECRA work that should be your responsibility. You told the IDA you prepared a generic finding statements and consistency analyses that are binding on the IDA. I think that's rubbish. They are not binding on the IDA, and those studies did not begin to assess the real project that CAT presented to the IDA on September 21st. All you have to do is read the last consistency analysis that was done in October 2020. It cautioned that the project it was analyzing for secret purposes was just a conceptual sketch plan. It wasn't engineered, it had no infrastructure details, and most importantly, it pointed out that although the use of the 10 million new square feet of construction had not yet been identified, CAT's counsel and representatives stated that the property would not be used for cargo or freight operations. Instead, the runways and buildings would be used for aviation technology companies for new aerospace design of aircraft, electric, and solar-related avionics. That's what that consistency analysis was relying upon. Well, now we've learned that's not really true. CAT finally came clean when they told the IDA they plan a cargo airport and 9,600,000 square feet of warehouse space for a gigantic distribution center. We all know this means constant cargo planes with their noise, fumes, and dangers, along with endless tractor trailers and their fumes, all clogging the roads, not just of Riverhead, but this impacts the whole east end of Long Island. This use, air cargo and warehouse distribution, was never studied for your environmental impact findings. Do you expect the IDA to do this required SECRA work? I seriously doubt the IDA expects to do it or even has the ability to do it. But this work must be done before an inducement resolution is approved by the IDA. And on top of all this, there's an enormous conflict of interest issue posed by the IDA's use of the Nixon Peabody law firm. I'm pretty sure you've probably all read the meticulously researched article in the Riverhead Local outlining this overarching issue. As an applicant to the IDA, you have a responsibility to make sure the IDA process is not tainted by an ethical stain. Nixon Peabody did legal work for 555 in its leasing to tenants at the American Dream Mall in New Jersey. Is Nixon Peabody hoping to have the legal work when CAT begins acquiring tenants at EPCAL? Could the hope to get such lucrative work possibly influence Nixon Peabody when doing its due diligence and analysis for the IDA? It's a very real ethical question, one that you, as the ultimate entity responsible for the sale of this valuable property, must be sure is resolved before Nixon Peabody does this work for the IDA. This is serious stuff. And on one final point, I can't help but notice that every entity providing legal counsel and financial expertise, including your own counsel, Frank Eisler's firm, by virtue of this joint application to the IDA, is being paid by CAT, the applicant, for the applicant, the developer at EPCAL. As they say, follow the money. I thank you very much for your time.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, hey.
Hi, long time no see. Got a clock, everything now?
Yeah.
I'm Bob Skinner. I live in Jamesport. I'd like to talk about the September IDA meeting with the EPCAL proposal as well, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be fragmented and all over the board. Please forgive me. I intend to put together a written thing with this once I get everything in line. But I was under the impression that what was said at the original qualified and eligible hearings by the Gurmesian family was supposed to be carried forth going down the line rather than changing things in midstream, as we're seeing with the IDA meeting of September 21st. I'll make the statement that I realize they don't call it a cargo airport, but an air cargo logistics hub, very well stated. And what what was described as the rendering with the buildings and the multiple jets look like they're the scale of 727s. This is going to put everything that you don't want in the air over Calverton into the air. They even made references on the 21st of September to Amazon, UPS, and FedEx. This is all part of the initial build-out. And what was said in the qualified and eligible meetings was this was going to be all was going to be technology-driven. And I did some dumpster diving through the minutes, which are very well put out by whoever Flynn transcription is, using cross-reference words, and it's 484 pages, and I'm not completely finished with it yet. But I have found 4 specific mentions where Nader Gurmesian says they're going to develop an aviation hub, a hub of aviation excellence, make an aviation hub, nothing about cargo. Councilperson Giglio asks about FAA funds, and Bean and Stock, counsel for the Gurmesian, says FAA funds are for commercial airport. We are not doing that. There's further comments to what I had asked questions regarding commercial operations, passenger cargo, and Bean and Stock says, we said this already before, this is not going to become an airport. Laura Jen Smith then follows up with saying, so there's going to be no FedEx substation here, and another representative says no. There's another entrance later on, and I will supply the page numbers and the lines for you to go into detail with this if there is a consideration regarding FAA money from Sid Bale and Wading River. He says it's clear that their response is, it's clear that FAA is for commercial aviation. We are not applying for commercial aviation, and now all of a sudden we see what has been presented to the IDA. I don't know how you can do business with people that change these things in midstream like this. We had these concerns at the original qualification Q&E meetings in 2018, and now they're coming to fruition. I'm a big fan of the show air disasters, okay? When you look at some of the cargo disasters that have happened, these are planes that are retired passenger planes that are no longer used. The scale of the 727 that they use on the proposal with the rendering
Devin,
makes me think that here we've gone from all of these grandiose proposals that George Hochbruckner went and supported, and all these companies came forth with all of this space-age, cutting-edge avionics. And you've gone from the prospects of EPCAL being cutting-edge aviation technology and R&D to put out to pasture old-school retired jet planes as the first wave of the build-out. Please do not let this become a commercial airport. An airport by any other name is airport, whether it's a logistics hub or a cargo airport. They specifically said they weren't going to do it. They're flipping the script. This can't, I don't see how this can be done. I don't see how they can do put everything forth that they put in the original Q&E meetings and now turn around and want to do this like it never was said. It's a matter of record. Please don't let this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
take that.
Oh, great.
Just in time.
Grace.
Grace Swift, Calverton.
Hi, ma'am.
Are
Good
you
to see
ready?
you. I'm ready.
The
You have to raise your
fall-
voice.
the Beautiful fall leaves are falling, so we don't have any bags to put in.
Oh, Grace, just pull the mic down a little bit so we can hear you better.
You want to hear it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
In the spring, I requested that you could find out about the bags, leaf bags,
Okay.
and it's that time, they're falling. But no
Highway doesn't have
bags.
any?
They used to stock them.
Did you contact Highway?
No, I contacted the board.
Yeah, but Highway distributes them, the Highway Department.
Yeah, but I don't have that authority.
Yes, you do.
Oh, no, they give them out to the public. That's where you get them from.
We've always had them up until last year.
Where did you have them? Would they
They
deliver
do
to
them
you?
at the highway department.
Yeah.
That's where you go, yeah, to pick them up.
Well, somebody's got to put it in the budget, don't they? I don't know how that
It would
works.
already be part of this year's
I
budget.
think it's part of his, this year's budget. He would have ordered them in already.
Yeah.
Because that's why I asked last fall and I asked again in the spring.
I will double check and call you. I'll speak to Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they usually, you just pull up, you
Right.
give them your address and they plop them in your car for you.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't had them.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
We will check.
And Tim, you've been drawing the short straws today.
I know. But you know what it is? I can't get a word in edgewise at home with my wife, so I come here to do all my talking. She's not watching right now, so.
Hello.
Hi, John Cullen over in Northville. I don't have much to say because I'm still doing research on this whole EPCAL switch that is
Okay.
going on. But the only comment I have now is that I remember, well, I'm going to talk about that at the next meeting, but what I just want to say is we heard high-paying jobs. We hear big money, big technical, smart kids coming back to Riverhead to make their big money. Silicon Valley of the East is now turning into warehouse capital of the East. And these high-paying jobs, if they're going to be paying $100,000 for forklift drivers, please let me know where to sign up. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Chip, anyone online?
Nobody online.
Madam
Anyone?
Supervisor, could I just have a minute? I wanted to mention something. Town of Riverhead lost another great one. I would just like to mention that Timothy Griffin Jr. of Griffin Hardware passed away on Saturday. A generational store through the ages. The Griffin family, very historic in the town of Riverhead. Grangeville Park was actually named from some of the people involved in his family, back in the days when it was a mill and everything. Tim was, and full disclosure, I worked for him prior to getting hired for the police department. And I learned so many things from him because he just had such institutional knowledge on how to fix something. People would come into the store with a piece of string and say, here, I need a piece of glass this long. And I'm like, all right, how long is that? And they're like, well, I don't know, I just took the string. He would handle customers like that. He would handle problems on a daily basis in there. And you don't get that service in the big box stores. And that's part of what makes Riverhead great, are the mom and pops that have been here generational. God, we could name a bunch of places. Modern Snack Bar, Anthony Maris's Star Confectionery. These places are what make Riverhead what it is. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the family. Tim was involved in the Kent Animal Shelter over the years. He was on the board with them. He was on the board with the Riverhead Cemetery Association, volunteer in the Riverhead Fire Department for many, many years. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the family and tell them that they're in our thoughts and prayers. And, you know, he was also on the parking district with us. And the work and commitment that the Griffin family has done to the community over the years, I just want to thank them. And that, JR, you'll be sorely missed. Thank you.
He was also a great safecracker.
Oh, unbelievable
Yeah.
skills.
Yes,
It's-
unbelievable skills.
Unbelievable skills,
Yeah. Well, rest in peace.
yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Next, can I have a first and a second to close the town board meeting and open the special, we're gonna open you up now again, Dawn? Yeah, we're gonna close the town board
So
meeting,
moved.
and then we're gonna open up a special committee agency meeting. And, Diane, can you please take the vote?
Certainly, so it was.
I motion.
And did anybody second?
You want a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Second?
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The town board meeting is closed and the CDA meeting is now open.
All right, Dawn Thomas, our CDA director, is here to conduct the CDA meeting, and you will be also closing the CDA meeting, correct?
I will do that,
You already
yes.
closed the town board, great.
Yes, so we only have one resolution on the agenda, and that is CDA Resolution 2022-7. And I would like to incorporate into the record for this meeting all of the comments made on the identical resolution that was on the town board agenda earlier, and I don't have the number of that one.
Dawn, move the mic just a little bit to, yeah, okay, sorry.
So it's 7:23.
Okay. That's the one. Okay, so the resolution is a resolution designating joint venture entity between RXR Realty, RXR, and Georgia Green Ventures, GGV, previously designated master developer, as a qualified and eligible sponsor for the purchase and development of a 2+ or minus acre property owned, town-owned property, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-128, 3 lots 1 through 11, located on Court Street, and transfer of all of a portion thereof, and redevelopment of 2 parcels owned by the County of Suffolk, located on Griffin Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers 0600-128, Block 5, lots 1 and 2. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Thank you again to the board for your ongoing support of these projects. I think they're really important to downtown revitalization, and I think
Dawn, did you
moving
need
in a good
to
direction.
open it up for open comments?
Now we would
We're gonna
open it
open
up
up-
for comments
Okay.
on CDA matters only.
Good. Okay,
Chip, anybody online? Okay.
so then you gotta close. Yeah.
Any of the press want to comment? No.
So seeing that there are no comments on any other CDA matters, I would ask for a motion to close the CDA meeting.
So
We have to, we have to vote on this
Just
one?
voted.
Oh, you just did?
Okay, that's
just
just,
did.
okay, I thought it was just for the,
Oh, for the open?
yeah. Okay,
I think you voted to open.
Yeah, we did.
well, we all support it.
That's right, so.
It's been a long evening.
I motion,
Started out as an afternoon.
That's true.
We need a second, I think, right?
Well, we keep going, it'll be morning. Okay, so a motion to close.
So moved.
Okay. Kern.
yes.
Roth.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre. The CDA meeting is now closed.
Yes,
Thank you.
happy birthday.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you, thank
birthday.
you.
You definitely look older since the meeting started.